I'm Jimmy Young, along with Jimmy Myers. Say hello, Jimmy.
I'm still here.
I know, you can say hello, Jimmy.
Hello, Jimmy. How are you?
Good, how are you, Jimmy?
It's wonderful to see you, Jimmy.
Nice to see you too, Jimmy.
No. You can say yeah all you want. No.
How does that say that?
Objective. He's supposed to be objective.
He's a network
His job
president.
Is
What?
a network.
He's not a journalist. He's not a journalist. He's a businessman.
Ladies and gentlemen, it was wrong. He does not belong there. Now you can argue all you want.
No,
Go
I
ahead.
don't. We have to go back and forth. It's going to be an
Go
argument.
ahead.
That you almost become that person vicariously while you're writing it.
This is not going to be the stuff you're going to hear on your local radio.
All right.
You're a legend, kid. I had to show.
He is totally a legend, and I'm so that he is not the only person that is saying suspended for this many games. You're suspended for that many games.
All I have to do is stay black and look good. That's all I got to do.
Brilliant
It's
minds.
still going to come down by the defense. And you know, Tom Jackson.
We watch our Pats games here. I've watched Celtics NBA playoff games. I was here when the Bruins won the cup. I was in this place when the Bruins won the cup in 11. We had a great time.
This camera and wrap it up.
All right, well, that's going to do it for the Jimmy Sports Talk, live streaming on YouTube from the Knobscott Cafe in Framingham, Massachusetts. For Jimmy Young, Jimmy Myers, I'm Joe Berryman, and sorry to steal your line. That's what it is in sports.
Oh, I love it. Well done, Joe. Terrific job. We're going to the Super Bowl. Yes, they are. That would be your New England Patriots. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Jimmy Sports Talk Show for a Monday night. I am Jimmy Young, along with
Jimmy Myers on this Martin Luther King Day, which is probably a hell of a lot more important than the Patriots going to the Super Bowl as far as real sane people are concerned. Now, fans are somewhat insane, so we understand what fanatics are and so forth. So relish in your moment. We'll talk about the game. We'll break a lot of things down. But before we get there, Jimmy, a couple of people have passed. Bob Wilson being one. Joe Fitzgerald wrote a brilliant article in regards to Bob Wilson, the legendary Boston Bruins announcer. I started my career under Bob Wilson so many years ago, and Bob passed at the age of 83. Hall of Fame hockey announcer and somebody that will be missed. Mr. Bob Castellano was his real name, but he came with Bob Wilson. And I got to know him over the years, and what a wonderful man. Also, we lose a young man a couple of months ago, but his memorial service was Saturday. One Chase M. Runyon. He is the son of the late Dr. Robert Runyon, one of the finest surgeons in the history of this country. I've known Dr. Robert Runyon since my arrival in Boston to go to college. He was my orthopedic surgeon for so many years, and I watched this young man come into the world, be born, and unfortunately took his own life back on November the 17th of last year. A memorial service was held on Saturday. We're going to miss these wonderful people. And with that said, then we get down to the business because it's time to go downtown and get this job done. You got it, partner.
And I guess the job would be entertaining for the next few hours. We've got two great guests coming in to our facility here live at the Knobscott Pub in Framingham, Massachusetts. We've got a former New England Patriots player named Jim Bowman, who was a special teams ace, a backup safety out of Central Michigan, played for the New England Patriots from 1985 through the 1989 season. And if anybody remembers their Patriots history, he recovered not one, but two fumble recoveries in special teams in that special beat the fish, squish the fish game against the Miami Dolphins, which puts the Patriots in that Super Bowl back in 1985, 86. They lost to some team called the Chicago Bears, but we don't need to talk about that game because it was so much more important that they won the AFC Championship, their first AFC Championship, and by beating those Miami Dolphins, which for someone who grew up in the Boston area, I hated the Miami Dolphins. I know hate is a very strong word, and I don't like to use it, but I extremely disliked the team.
Very good.
Okay,
Now,
how'd I do?
also, it should be remembered that Jim Bowman is a legendary high school football player from the Central Michigan area who never lost a game in high school. But he even has a more unique story in the fact of one of his young daughters, I believe it's Brielle, is a survivor of leukemia. Twice into remission. She's still alive. We're going to talk to Mr. Bowman about that and might Pettit will
Mike
be with
Pettit,
us as well.
who's his sidekick. And if anybody knows who Mike Pettit is, no, he's no relation to Andy Pettit. He is,
Or Bob Pettit.
or Bob Pettit,
Former
that we know
St.
of.
Louis Hawks.
That we know of.
Yeah,
anyway.
not that we know of.
But Bob Pettit's actually spelled that way.
Yes.
So he could be. But that being said, he's a corporate entertainer, comedian, entrepreneur, funny guy. Jim Bowman and Mike Pettit, that'll be coming up. And the best part is, I know I'm going to laugh a lot tonight because laughter truly is the greatest medicine of all.
Yes.
And I will say this. You could even describe what the AFC Championship game was like yesterday as a laugher for the New England Patriots because all those people out there who felt that the Patriots were going to run away with this game were 100% right. And I don't get it. The Indianapolis Colts were the second best team in the AFC, Jimmy?
No, they were not.
The Baltimore Ravens were.
Yes, the Patriots got their scare. They should have lost to the Ravens. The Ravens outplayed them for the game. A couple of trick plays, so they won the game. That's the most important thing. But I'm looking at a couple of things that happened in the Colts game. They stopped the Patriots on an early drive. You pump the ball back. Your defense is just getting to the sideline to take a rest when Josh Cribbs fumbles the ball. There's the game right there.
No, and
the
how
ball
many
game
times?
is
Yeah.
right there.
And
now the Patriots drive in, they score. Then the Colts drive down the field, and Andrew Luck threw a pass to Heron, wide open on the 2-yard line behind the linebacker coverage, dropped it. When those two things happened, I'm sitting there. I said, nope. They are not ready for prime time. They're in above their heads, and it's just a matter of how bad this thing is going to get. Now, the interception that Brady threw did turn the game back and made it a game for a hot minute, and then they just came out in the third quarter and they said, okay, let's put these guys away. Let's do what we need to do. And everything goes the way it goes. And then, of course, the saddest part about all of this for me with the New England Patriots is they just can't seem to win without some type of controversy surrounding them. And so many people dislike this franchise. One, they say because they try to run the score up all the time. And then when they get the score run up on them, i.e. Cincinnati 44-14, they don't like it. And they have this angst against the Patriots. I don't. The Patriots have had a great season. They've got to where you said they were going to be.
Yeah, Cincinnati, you wanted Kansas City.
Kansas City, excuse me, yeah. Kansas City, yes. Thank you for the correction. You're right.
That's all right.
Kansas City. And Kansas City wound up beating Seattle, too. So Kansas City should basically be there in some kind of way. But
No.
to say Indianapolis
Got to win the games that are on your schedule.
Exactly.
And
the second best team.
That's right.
No, they're not. And remember that Peyton Manning played with 2 torn quads. Now we find out after the game. Another thing I don't like about the NFL. But all that said, they were there. They had an opportunity. They got blown off the field. Now, the whole deflated ball situation and all that kind of stuff, all that does
nothing.
is just adds more fuel, and it makes good for copy for the next week or so. And then if the NFL does find out they deflated the balls, then there's going to be some type of penalty, and then there's going to be a whole bunch of mess, and then there's going to be more drama. The bottom line factor is this: on February the 1st at 6:30, they kick it off for real. And that's where it's going to be decided, on that field in Arizona, the same place where the Patriots have had one of their more horrific moments, losing to the Giants.
Absolutely.
There. And
18-1.
And the truth be told, I just have this feeling that this could get away from them if they don't play their best. And their best still may not be good enough against this defense.
Well, hang on a second. We're going to find that out, Jimmy. We're going to find that out. This is going to be, and isn't that the way it's supposed to be in the Super Bowl? This was the game we had talked about. The game everybody wanted to see was the Patriots against the Seattle Seahawks. Mm-hmm. Now you're going to get a chance to see it.
We
wanted to see it.
No, wait. You wanted to see the Patriots in Green Bay.
Yeah, because I thought the Patriots could have beaten Green Bay if they had a second chance. Yep. Now, I have more doubt that they can beat the Seahawks. However, go back to what you just said, which is they have to play their best football. Now, yesterday, they played 60 minutes of very good football. Do not take away from the fact that even that 7 points that
50 minutes of great football. The last 10 minutes were garbage.
Okay, so it didn't matter then.
It didn't matter.
Okay.
But, okay, then.
Oh, wait, hang on a second. It did matter. Okay, almost. Okay. Almost it did matter.
I was not going to let you get away with that.
Almost did matter.
Ladies and gentlemen,
because
you're
Bill
45-7, and you have Tom Brady on the field throwing a pass, and his knee got buckled. The moment I saw that, I wanted to walk to Foxborough, grab the hoodie off of Bill Belichick, beat him with his own hoodie, and say, have you lost your mind? What is he? Well, then he sends him back out for the curtain call. the curtain call almost came too early. The curtain almost came down on him because
imagine that?
the way he
Oh.
felt, and it was an ugly play, Jimmy, because when you saw the replay
know,
from the side,
I
he caved in that knee. I said to myself, what if Brady had have gotten hurt?
Oh, no,
Now, I
that's the
wonder
first
what
thing I
all
saw
of
when I
these
saw
people
that.
would have been saying about the genius of Belichick. They'd have said, he's crazy. What was he in the first place?
He's not a genius. He's human.
He's human.
And that being said, he's still the best NFL football coach in my generation.
Okay.
All right? I will say that in
okay,
my
you can have that.
generation, all right?
You can have
no
that.
disrespect to Vince Lombardi.
Not
After all,
mine.
No, because you're a little older than me.
And he's not better than he's not better than a few guys that I've seen from those 80s,
Yeah, go ahead.
the Seafords, and no. Bill Walsh?
I'll
No.
say-
I don't.
I
how
think
many
he's
Super
in the
Bowls he
same.
won?
I think
Because-
you're looking
because
at
they
Landry
spread the field,
and
because
Walsh.
they spread the field
I don't
just
even-
like he
Let me
did.
ask you a question about Don Shula.
Okay.
Overrated?
No.
One Super Bowl, two Super Bowls,
No.
right? Two Super Bowls.
No.
Two Super Bowls.
No.
Winningest coach of all time.
No. The reason being, Jimmy, is that Don Shula was involved probably in the greatest upset in the history of this game, that being the Jets beating his Colts. Okay,
Right.
that's one. But then they do come back and they wind up winning, and they wind up winning again. And the teams that he put together, you talk about Belichick, talk about sustained excellence.
Right.
Miami, like you said, I hate the Dolphins. Well, while he was there,
That's
probably
why I
felt you
hated
had a
him.
reason.
That's why I hated them. They were
Because
really
couldn't
good.
Touch those
Just
guys.
like the Patriots
right?
did them.
You
That's
couldn't
how it works.
touch those guys.
were a
Those
great
guys
team.
were greasy and
Mercury
even
Morris.
But think about it. Even when he had what was it, Woodward
Yeah.
or these other guys, he still got to the Super Bowl. They lost to the Redskins. Remember?
Yes, he did.
On Riggins.
Yeah, Pete Cronin
run.
played in that
But
game
what I'm
in
saying is
83.
that
Marino's
was
only
the
Super Bowl.
sustained excellence that they had. Remember that you're talking about, but still, you're talking about they lost to Joe Montana and one of the best teams, both sides of the football, that's ever been put on a football field. That 49ers team, they weren't going to beat them. It didn't make a difference what they did that day. He could have thrown 5 touchdowns. They would have. That's how good they were.
Well, and it's fun to talk about football, and we will. The best thing now is you got 2 more weeks of football talk
Yes.
if you're a Patriots fan. Probably another 1 or 2 weeks after the game itself, and we'll be here right up through that game here at the Knobscott Cafe. But we should take a moment to just thank our sponsors, our friends at Scrub It Up Car Wash, our friends at Hip Studio, spelled HYP Studio.com.
Hi, Mom. H-I, Mom.
hipstudio.com, and of course our friends at the Knobscott Cafe. The Bravermans have made their weekly appearance here.
Did
How
you
are
say
guys?
Scrub It Up Car Wash?
Scrub It Up Car Wash? Yes,
good,
you'll
good.
get Scrub It Up. Don't
Good,
you worry.
good.
I
need
swear.
some scrubbing and dubbing. But
I'll
go
get
ahead.
you scrubbing and I'll get you dubbing.
Okay.
And anyway, so those are our sponsors. We thank them very much for being with us. And we'll
They've
be
been
here
with us for a good portion of the
Yes,
year.
they have, and they'll be with us. We'll be here until 8:30 tonight at the Knobscott Cafe in Framingham. If you happen to be watching live on YouTube, you can still come down here and get a $3.99 burger.
Good one.
One of the best burgers you will
good
ever
one.
get. What's that? Pound for pound? I guess
yeah.
that would be
It's
ounce
gotta
for
be.
ounce.
It's gotta be.
That's
Gotta
one of
be
the
one of
best
the best.
burgers of all time,
Gotta be
right
one of the
there.
best.
All right, and of course, a little bit later on, Jim Bowman and Mike Pettit, they're coming up here from the Foxborough area, and they'll be joining us a little bit later on. So that's what's coming up. Now, let's get to the matter at hand, because I know that Jimmy Myers always has a few interesting things to say about the New England Patriots and how good they really are and where they are in history. Certainly the best storyline has emerged from the National Football League this year when the Patriots taking on the Seahawks. You've got Pete Carroll taking on his
Former
former
Patriot
team.
coach.
That's right, taking on his former team and trying to do with his current team what the Patriots did in 03 and 04, which is repeat as Super Bowl champions. Now, no team, except for the Patriots, has done that since that time.
Okay.
It is not an easy thing to
No,
do.
it's not.
Ask the St. Louis Rams, who were big favorites going into that game
14
against
points.
the Patriots,
14
and the
points.
Patriots upset them thanks to that Adam Vinatieri field goal to give the Patriots their first ever Super Bowl. Now, interesting thing happens, and neither one of us, we don't bet on sports. Neither
No,
one of us. We're not
never
about
have,
that. We're
never will.
purists. We're purists. I like the fact that on any given Sunday, any team could beat any team, no matter if they're favorites or they're underdogs. They're all professionals. They're the best at what they do. They prepare like professionals, and Lord knows they know a lot more about that game than I do. That being said, as soon as the game was over, the Seattle Seahawks were 2.5-point favorites. 24 hours later, the New England Patriots are 1.5-point favorites. And they've taken the game off the board right now, which I think is fascinating, which basically means
a pick 'em game.
it's going to be a pick 'em game.
Right.
And I was trying to remember, Jimmy, you've got a much better brain than I have on this. When was the last pick 'em
Pick 'em game? It's been a while. It's
Right?
been a good while.
Because
since
as
we've
you
had a
know,
pick 'em
as
game.
you know,
they always pick a favorite.
But it's never so much. It of course is based on this team against that team and matchups. But the line is really based on who's going to bet on which team.
Yep.
It's really about the betting line. Are they going to get as much money on this, or are they going to get as much money on the Seahawks, or as much money on the Patriots? And I see off in the distance, speaking of legends of our time, Mr. Jim Bowman and Mr. Mike Pettit are coming our way. Perfectly timed. Come on, guys. This is very loose. It's not like you need a big applause or anything. Jim Bowman, former New England Patriots, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Mike Pettit here.
He brought props.
He brought props.
He mentioned that he brought props.
Oh, is this the? It is the official cap, ladies and gentlemen. And by the way, it's way too big for my head. I just want to say.
Good. You weren't getting it anyway.
It's all right there.
Jimmy. How are you, Jim?
Good. How
Good
you
to
doing?
see you. Mike
Pettit, Jimmy Young.
Nice to meet you. Have a seat. Say hi, Jimmy Myers.
Nice to meet you.
Jimmy Myers. I think we met maybe one time long ago, but
I had
see
hair.
you.
He had hair then.
Didn't have hair back
Yes,
then.
he
I had hair.
Did you?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
So just so you know, it's a very sensitive microphone. You should be able to talk normally. Look at us, and off we go. And this will be our 4-shot over here. Okay, that's our 4-shot camera, and this is our 2-shot camera because we are the 2-shot people. You know what I'm saying? So I was just doing a little history. We talked about the Squish the Fish game. We talked about your amazing performance in that game.
How amazing.
2 fumble recoveries, if I remember
Something like
correctly.
that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Good memory.
Fairly
Right.
amazing, right?
right.
That's fairly amazing.
That's right.
You've had better days.
That's right.
Like going 36-0 in high school.
Whoa, see?
I'm
A little
still
homework
stuck
there.
on
He's
that
done
one.
some
I'm still
homework,
stuck on
right?
that one. I'm still stuck on that one. Jim, try to explain to people what it's like to be a young person going through something, an amazing streak like that. So there's got to be state titles in there because you ran the table every single year.
Are you talking with the Pats?
No,
And
I'm
the,
talking 36-0
high school.
in
Oh,
high school.
36 and 0. Well, you're going to go back that far.
Do you remember back
well,
that far?
I can barely remember yesterday sometimes, but Jimmy, that was actually, we went 9-0 as a freshman group of kids. So 9-0, we played 9 games of football. So 9-0 has a freshman unit. And then when we all turned sophomores, so we played on a JV team. Never lost a game as a JV. In fact, I think we only gave up 6 points one game. So it was shutouts, the entire thing. So then when we all became varsity, as a varsity unit, we went 9-0. And then as a senior class, we went 9-0 as well. So that's 36-0, doing my math, as a high school football player.
That's two state titles in there, then, right?
Well, no,
Did
that's
they give
the
state titles?
unfortunate aspect of the whole thing is that growing up in the state of Michigan, Michigan used to classify their schools A, B, C, and D. And we were technically a Class B school, Cadillac, Michigan, or Cadillac High School.
Yeah.
But half the other schools in our conference were Class C schools. So they used to rank things on computer-generated points
just like
based
the
on your
BCS
competition.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was high school football back in the state of Michigan in the late 70s, early 80s.
Yep.
So we never generated enough computer points to make the state playoffs. We were always ranked, but just fell below the rankings to make the state playoffs.
Now that's interesting to me because I would think, as a player, that had to bother a lot of
absolutely
you
did.
guys saying, look, I know we can compete with these guys. I know if we're undefeated, and we've had a team since freshman year, by the time you're juniors and you're undefeated, it just seems so unfair that you don't get a chance to at least play. I'm from Philadelphia, and we had the same sort of system. It was a point system, whereas if you lost one game, you weren't going into the playoffs. Or now that it's different, but at that time there could only be one city champion and one Catholic school champion. But you eliminate so much from your high school, but it doesn't take away from what you did, Jim.
Now, it was still a great accomplishment, don't get us wrong, but after graduating from high school and getting a scholarship to Central Michigan University, where I ended up meeting, obviously, some classmates who played for the other Michigan high schools and their programs and talking to their program, I'm convinced at this point that, yeah, we could have competed had we made the playoffs, and I believe in the state of Michigan now, any and all undefeated sports programs
go,
or
right?
get to qualify for state playoffs. So
But think about,
missed it.
but think about what he just said though, because here's the perfect example of what I'm talking about. Today, it changes, Jim, but it still can't bring back that time for you guys. But it doesn't take away from what you did. Do you ever talk to any of your old teammates?
Well, I wouldn't say we're as close as some classes are, but back at a 25 high school reunion, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was the only one that actually went on for a Division I scholarship from our school, but numerous other guys played Division II, Division III. We used to run the old Michigan wishbone offense.
Oh my goodness!
When Bo Schembeck was
Yeah,
coach
sure.
at
Yeah.
Michigan,
Amazing.
and the
Same
option, down the line, and I was always one of the two halfbacks. We always had the two halfbacks. My junior year, the coach's son was actually one of the other halfbacks, and he would always get twice as many carries as I
thought
would.
that was going to happen, but that's okay.
But I actually averaged like over 10 yards a carry as a junior. But then it was my turn as a senior to get more carries than the other halfback, and ended up with 1,800 yards.
But
I don't know how
now
many
as a
touchdowns.
senior, you had to feel that team would have been good enough to go deep into the playoffs.
Absolutely.
Because you had everybody back, and you had to feel like we could have gone deep in the playoffs as your seniors, right?
It just didn't happen.
So, Mike, how about your high school career?
Yeah.
How
Mine's got
undefeated
all
were you?
sorts
What
of stuff.
what categories were you undefeated in?
I'm a New England guy.
All right. Where'd
went
you
to
grow up?
Attleboro High School.
All right, Attleboro High School.
Attleboro?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
Attleboro High.
Oh boy,
So I
fond memories.
Yeah.
Attleboro.
I played quarterback, and then
my life.
everybody else got bigger and I
Attleboro.
didn't. So I started pursuing a
Go
career
Attleboro.
in radio and moved into the entertainment business. So.
And you're still in it now.
I love it. And I noticed this hat is somewhat deflated. Is that?
I was waiting for that. What was the over/under on that?
Propping that baby up now.
like him. All right, we got some fun
So
tonight.
I've been doing the joke and always trying to find the funny in things, and it's pretty amazing what they're
So
What was
trying
your
to
best
do.
year in high school in Attleboro?
My junior year.
What was your record then?
Oh my God! I think we were just about 500. That was good enough. We didn't have the
Ask me.
the status of a Mr. Bowman, but no, we had some
Excuse me, and you also talked to the Hall of Fame.
Hall of
Because you
Famer.
got
God's
into
sakes.
the Hall of Fame, and I don't care what Hall of Fame you're in.
Sure.
It's the Hall of Fame. kid.
Sure.
And that's important.
Sure.
That is
Take
important.
it, man. He did his homework, right?
I guess so.
Unbelievable.
Gracious.
And I'm more like an Al Bundy. I started off in football and went to the entertainment business.
That's
you
right.
know?
That's good. That's
Sure.
a good move, by the way.
Sure, absolutely.
Not much
Well,
brain
but you
damage on
did
that.
score 4 touchdowns in one game, didn't you?
Sure.
No.
Al did.
Score something
Touchdown,
else.
Al?
He scored with something else. Wait. Took you a minute and a half to mention underdeflated and how the Patriots can't win without people taking shots at them. This is one of the most ridiculous stories that I've witnessed in my time. As someone who's played the game, could you really tell the difference between an underinflated ball? And by the way, if it's underinflated, it's maybe a half a pound.
If that.
If that, right? You're talking about a piece of wood when it gets cold and wet and rainy. That's how it feels, And how much of a difference really would it have made, if any? And by the way, didn't the Colts play with these same balls, so to speak?
Jimmy, there's all sorts of things I can elaborate on that. I actually bore witness to that whole scenario last night at the game.
Okay, so you were right on top of the ball gate, or deflated gate,
yes.
or whatever they're calling it.
Deflategate.
Deflategate.
Explain it.
Well, you know what I
you
do.
saw.
Yeah. Well, explain.
No,
I know
we'll
what
get
you
to
do.
that. Yeah, 'cause I'm gonna
Explain.
Maybe you should start with that,
Okay,
or let me try to
so
explain
he
that.
is part of the uniform police. Is that the best way to look at it?
the
or-
uniform inspector for the
Uniform
National Football
inspector.
League.
League.
He will
Not
be-
the Patriots, just for the whole
For
league.
the league. So
Right.
I'm in the officials' room. I'm an NFL official, so I got credentials, and that's where I always report, where I put down my bags, where I hang
Yep.
before the game,
right.
halftime, and after the game. And I've been doing the uniform inspection job for 18 seasons now. Wow. So I've been able to see a lot of different things, but what I was able to incur and see last night was the whole scenario right at halftime.
All right. So at halftime.
At halftime.
So
It's-
what happened at halftime? There's a great journalistic question.
Well, the one of the game officials was looking for the guy that's in charge of the balls. And I happen to know him. I've known him for a long, long time, and he comes in soon after halftime had ended with the big 2 bags. But then
Yeah.
there was one ball that was in question, and Now, I'm not just talking with the referees. There's numerous other game officials from the league office that are there.
Yeah, okay.
And there was one ball that they had in question, and it was starting to get kind of a heated discussion in there, and that's when I was actually asked to leave the officials' room.
Really?
So at that point, you knew something
Called
was really
scoop,
going
ladies and
on.
gentlemen. Go ahead,
This
Jim.
is
I
interesting.
wanna hear
All
this.
right,
This is-
yeah.
And so then I just went to the next room, which is where the chain crew hang out. And
Yeah.
both rooms have food, and so I was.
Did you have a
was
little
good.
cup up to the wall or anything like that?
I was good and was back out on the field right at the start of the third quarter when everybody else went out.
Okay, keep going.
And it
They
was that-
switched out a ball at one point. That it was everybody's like, "What's going on with
Well,
that?"
I knew there was a ball issue, but I really did not know what it was because a lot of times it could be the kicking ball,
right.
or the game day
Right.
ball.
Some are rubbed up, some are not. That's what they were talking about. And
I can explain the rub down things where they're all brand new balls, and
Right.
each team has a representative in the chain crew's bathroom. They scrub those balls before each and every game.
Each
and
team.
Each
So
team
the Colts
has
have
a
somebody?
representative. They have an equipment boy,
representative.
has a
Okay.
ball boy, and they're in there scrubbing down the balls. They wet them down, and they work them as much as they can to break them in as quick as possible. And then those balls go to an official. And you notice on the sidelines, there's always an official that tosses in
the ball.
for the offense, or a ball to kick a field goal, an extra point, or a punt.
Kickoff,
right.
And the kicking balls have K's on them.
Right.
The regular balls have.
Right.
are
And
just
there's usually a guy with a K.
What's
on
the
his
difference in the
jersey.
balls? 'Cause most people don't know.
Nothing.
Question, Jimmy. Most people don't know that.
One
there's no
just has
difference.
a
That's
K
why I'm
on it.
asking
One
this.
just
It
has a
just
K
has
on
a
it,
big
one
K
doesn't.
on it,
Right.
correct? Okay.
But they just like to separate them because of what the Tony Romo situation numerous years ago, when those brand new shiny balls. Remember when he was
Yeah,
trying to
missed the
get
extra
right.
point.
Now they
Against
separate
Seattle,
the balls.
wasn't it? In fact.
It was a playoff game.
Yeah,
It was a
playoff game. Muffed
They
it.
ended
Yeah.
up losing. But anyways, getting back to the story, as soon as I got on the field back in the second half, that's when the officials from the league came onto the field. Remember, I guess that there was a little delay in the start of
Yes.
this.
Yes, because
Yes,
we
there
came out of
was.
commercial.
They came out of a commercial.
Came
They're
out of
sitting there
commercial,
waiting,
and
like,
everybody
what's
was
going on?
sitting, and waiting, and then the announcers tried to
that's
say, well, there's
when-
something going on.
One of the league officials came out with the ball that was in question. They went quickly and grabbed the Patriots equipment manager, Dave, and there was some heated discussions going on. But at that point, I still really didn't know what the situation was with the ball, other than there was a ball in question. I know
One
that
ball.
ball was photographed.
So this is
and
one ball.
one ball.
Out
That
of
is
how
correct.
many balls?
I think 12 in
Probably
each bag.
12 on each bag, right?
So that would be 24.
24 balls. Okay,
Total
but hold on. This is important, Jimmy. Jim, I'm looking at this scenario as such. I saw the delay because I'm on my way to get back here, and I'm watching it. I'm saying, well, something's going on. I knew something was going on.
There
because
was something going
I
on.
could see heated discussions going back and forth from the sideline to the field, and then I saw a ball. Then I saw another ball thrown out. I said, okay, well, something's going on. And then the announcers are flummoxed because they have no idea what the hell's going on. And the game is being held. Then the fans started getting agitated, and then the ball comes on. But I would like to ask this. You said 2 sets of balls. Now, do the Colts play with a separate ball from the Patriots? So the Patriots have 12 balls, and they have 12 balls. So when Andrew Luck and them are on the field, they only use the balls they rubbed up, and the Patriots only use the balls that they rubbed up. See,
That's
most people
my
don't
knowledge.
know this. Most people don't know this, though, Jim. They just think everybody's using the same ball. Then it's not the case. Okay.
No, because each sideline on each side of the field
Have
has
balls.
Patriots ball boys, Colts ball boys.
Gotcha.
So if it's closer for the referee where the play went out of bounds to toss in a new ball on the Pat sideline, one of the Colts ball boys will toss in a ball that's been chosen. And if you notice, each ball boy will carry at least 1 to 2, maybe even 3 balls.
balls with them.
And last night, because of the rain coming down, they were all in plastic bags, just to protect them and
Right.
try to keep them dry. They got
Right.
towels in there.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
whenever they're trying to toss on a new ball onto the field, it's usually try to be a dry ball.
Right.
But there's definitely separated balls between the offense and or kicking balls, but they're basically the same balls.
That's where I'm going with this.
Okay.
I know that you like that controversy, and you think that
I
the
don't like
Patriots-
any controversy.
Excuse me.
I'm interested in things.
Fair enough.
I'm interested in
All right.
knowledge of knowing this.
I know, and that's where I'm
This
going
is the,
with this.
This is the
I
beauty of
don't-
having somebody sitting here that knows what they're talking about. Because
I
the average
understand
person
that.
sitting there watching TV didn't have a damn clue
Nope.
as to what was
They
going
did
on.
not.
The only thing the announcers did say again was they rub up the balls. There's
They
some
do?
that
Who
come
rubs
in-
up the balls?
That would be a member of the equipment staff,
Yeah,
Why?
equipment manager.
because they're all brand new balls that are sent to each game.
Why can't the game officials rub up balls? Just like baseball, the umpires rub
It's
up
a
balls.
TD process. Those guys are in there. They literally break a sweat when they're doing that.
Okay, I got you.
There are 4 issued small little brushes, and with that, they're scrubbing. And I mean, they're scrubbing, and they take a wet towel and they soak that ball, and then they rub it down some more, because a brand new football right out of the
slippery as hell.
factory,
I know.
very slippery.
Right, and then the kickers only are allowed to kick brand new balls. I believe they're not able to rub them up.
Nope.
Correct? So those are the 2 different
And there's
types.
always an NFL official overseeing the equipment manager or the equipment boys.
Oh, while they're doing
it.
it?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right,
Good.
so
Okay.
again,
Okay.
what difference does it make whether these things are a little underinflated or not? I mean, we're talking about very subtle. We're talking about maybe less than 1%. Yes, no?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the PSI is of the
Yeah.
balls. I've heard that earlier today, whatever, 13.
Point three,
or
point
whatever.
3, I think it is 13.
But you know what? You know, the last couple of home games, not only for the Pats, but the Colts out in Denver, I mean, you're playing under frigid temperatures.
That's right.
And balls under cold temperatures are not going to deflate it up. I mean, it was 50-some degrees last
It was
night.
nice.
There
That's
might have
right.
been an opportunity, you know, just weather-related that would make a ball feel a little inflated.
Which gives the quarterback an opportunity to squeeze it better. I'm trying, Mr. Quarterback. Did you ever squeeze any underinflated balls? That's what I'm going with here. There's a big line. There's a line in here somewhere.
Actually, don't. Yeah, yeah.
Don't get them going on
I
that.
know. I just set them
I
up.
tell you.
I love my mic. Okay, good. Go ahead, Adam Ball. Fire away. Let him have it.
Nobody should have underflated balls.
No, that's a
I hate when
prerequisite.
that happens.
You know, it's awkward.
I knew we were
It's
going
awkward.
there.
It's awkward.
I knew we were
See,
going
it
there.
all
Ladies
comes
and
full
gentlemen,
circle.
This is a family-related show. Okay, that's all we're going to say. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're a family-related show. That's right. We're the Family Guy. That's what we
Right.
do.
Thank you.
But no, to me, I understand the whole thing with the gripping of the ball, and I understand what Jim's saying, that the ball has to be rubbed down and wet, and then it kind of, because when you do touch a brand new ball, it's got that slick, plasticky feel to it, which we all know. Jim was telling me on the ride over here, and yeah, I'm an avid sports fan for all sports. I know the baseball players, they scuff up baseballs to break them in, but I did not know that each team would have their own ball rubber, if you will, a guy who preps the balls.
Professional
to me,
ball rubber.
why couldn't the league do this?
Right, somebody that spent over 4 decades in sports. I've been in damn near every single official's room.
Sure.
In hockey, the pucks have to be kept at a certain temperature.
Sure.
You
They're
can't
frozen.
heat
Do that,
them,
yeah.
You can't do certain
Sure.
things. Okay, I've been in this room to watch this, and I videoed this. Okay, basketball. I bet you don't even know. The balls are taken off the game rack. There is no special game ball that comes in. They hand the ball to the point guard of the one team. They hand it to the point guard of the other team and says, "Is this okay?"
Yep.
Both officials walk. 3 officials down.
Sure.
They walk out and say, "Mike, you got it. Touch it. Jim, you got it. How do you feel about it? No, you don't want it? Okay, whip that one out." Now you have 12 balls on the rack. You're going to find one. But I try to tell people, because I'm an inventor, and I've just invented a tool that can help with this, and I try to explain this to the NBA if they don't get it yet. Once a ball has been played with, and it sits in a metal rack, rubber is malleable. It's going to form into wherever it sits. If you put it up against a wall, if you put it in a car, if you do whatever, if you do, excuse me, I have a patent on my
I know, we
invention.
know, Jimmy. We're not doubting your invention.
You got to be smart
patent
to
pending.
understand
Patent
this. No,
pending.
it's
No,
patent.
he's got a
full
patent. He's got a patent.
And somebody will be smart enough to come
Shark
forward
Tank.
and say, look, we
That's
need to
right.
market this. But anyway.
Shark Tank.
Okay.
Shark Tank.
No. They're not getting 50% of my genius. Thank you. But to make a long story short, okay, that's basketball. Then you go to baseball. I just told you about umpires rubbing up balls. Now, finally, I have somebody from the NFL that can tell me there's an official sitting there watching to make sure that the balls are rubbed down properly. Yeah. I'm sure that official probably feels the balls, and he's probably saying, okay, this one's okay. Now I'm wondering, how do you get a weird ball in there? And why does it take so long to just say, whip that one out, let's get another ball, this ball is underinflated, and you immediately, Jim, eliminate the controversy. You get rid of it. This is where the NFL falls short to me and all the dumb stuff that they do. This should not have become an issue.
Correct.
You whip the ball away and say, look, here, take this one. We got 11 more. And we're not coming back to that ball. Brady played with that ball during a couple of scoring drives. And so it brings up all this dumb stuff that it goes through players' heads. I was a player, so I know. Oh, yeah, no,
What
he
if
didn't.
What if it honestly was a defect? A faulty ball?
Could be.
Nobody's
And
even
you
talked
just
about
said
that.
Jim,
Absolutely.
you said
What if there was a slow
you made
leak?
the best point,
Right,
Jim.
slow leak.
There was
You
a
made
slow
the
leak?
best point. In Denver, it was cold. It's always cold.
Against Baltimore.
Against
Right.
Baltimore, it was cold. Against Baltimore, it was cold.
Could be a faulty ball.
How are you going to say the ball is going to stay the perfect model for a whole game? You're tackling it. It's knocked on the ground. It's hitting. It's bouncing. It's bouncing off the turf. It's just too many elements for me for something like this to come into this now. But Jim, I want to go a little bit further with you because there was an incident that occurred in a Seattle game that I was covering, and this I loved because you're a uniform guy, and Marshawn Lynch, the running back,
Know all about this
who is
one.
a
Go
piece
ahead.
of work, who is
Yeah.
a piece of work within himself. Marshawn Lynch decided he wanted to wear gold shoes yesterday.
Yes,
in the game.
well, the NFL did not like that.
$1,000 pair of shoes.
Yeah, $1,000
$500 a piece.
A piece
per shoe.
Per shoe.
So
And
$1,000.
The league said, no, you cannot wear that because it's not part of your standard uniform.
Nope.
So he wore it with the gold bottoms on them. They painted the tops to the green of Seattle, right? Now, Jim, it is said that he would have been fined if he wore the shoes. He would have been suspended from the Super Bowl.
I thought it was the game.
Nope.
They weren't going to let him play in the
you gotta
game.
read the story. I was there. He would have been suspended. He would have been fined. He would have been suspended for the Super Bowl if he wore those shoes.
You wanna know what was
Is
gonna
that a
happen to
fact?
him?
What was gonna happen to him?
Jim?
My boss from the league office had to call the general manager of the Seahawks and inform him, and this is what proper protocol is that Marshawn Lynch at the start of the game wouldn't have been able to take the field until he changed his shoes, and they were going to assess a 5-yard penalty against Seattle and also cost them a timeout to start the game.
Could you imagine announcing that to that hostile crowd? 5 yards, and they will lose a
And it
timeout
was
because
high
of
drama
his shoes.
because the league was notified that these shoes arrived in his locker a couple of days prior, and he was adamant that he was going to wear these shoes up until just before kickoff. And
So
then
the
he
league-
finally made the decision that to put on league-approved shoes.
Okay,
and
let's say
not-
he wears them, and they lose the 5 yards, and they take the timeout.
No,
he still would have been fined, correct?
$100,000.
And then they talked about him not being able to play in the
He would have been allowed
Super
on the
Bowl.
field until he changed his shoes. Just
Now,
that game.
what people fail to understand is this. The league is not out of line with this for one reason. In your contract, it talks about your uniform. It talks about the standard protocol for what uniforms are supposed to be. You signed it, Marshawn. Sorry. And if you don't want to play, if you want to have whatever kind of shoes and you want to violate that, you're going to pay the price.
See, he took it to a whole different level when it comes to shoes, but that is the protocol. See, we as uniform inspectors, the 32 of us that do this job for the league, have had the authority to get a player off the field only the last 2 years based on thigh pads and knee pads being mandatory now for players. So if I notice a player
Only
that's,
2 years? The last 2 years you only had
that
this?
knee pads and thigh pads being mandatory.
Okay.
And having the authority to have a player leave the field until he puts in his knee pads or thigh pads. Wow. I've had one instance, and it happened this year with Brandon Marshall, the Chicago Bear wide receiver. Yeah. He,
Have you been doing
Wait,
this
what
longer
happened?
than
How many
anybody?
years?
I know. I'll ask about Brandon Marshall. Are you doing this longer than anybody else in the league?
no, the program has been in existence 19 years. I did not do it the very first season.
But is there others out there that have more?
Done for the 19 years.
They have 19. Okay, keep going.
What made
Now
you
tell
get
us
into
about
it?
Brandon Marshall.
What
There
made you
was,
want to do it?
I just got asked to do it, honestly.
Why? Why do you think you got asked?
It's another story, but I guess we got a lot of time here.
We got plenty of time.
We have
Go
no
for it.
commercial break.
Why
Well, no
do you think
commercial
you were
break.
asked?
Commercial
Why do
break.
you think you were asked, Jim?
I was. Garen Barris did it the very first year.
I know Garen. He's at UMass Boston.
Yes,
now.
Mass
he is
Boston,
now.
yep.
And Garen didn't want to do it the next year. He was completing his final season of BC Law School, wanted to concentrate on his studies, and then was moving back to Stanford. So at that point, an old teammate of mine, Ed Reynolds, was the very first uniform inspector who was in charge of all of us. And at that point in my life, Jimmy may or may not remember, my oldest daughter had leukemia twice
Brielle?
growing up.
Is that Brielle? Yes.
And the second time, she had relapsed. And Mr. Kraft actually thought it would be a good idea for me if, take my mind off things, a little financial reward for doing the job too. So we had contacted Donnie Brosher, the late Donnie Brosher,
Okay.
the equipment manager prior to the one we've got now down there. But I got a call literally out of the blue one day from Ed Reynolds asking if I'd be interested in doing the job. And I said, Ed, let me get this straight. You want me to work home games, walk the field, look for players with socks out or socks down, jerseys out, and you want me to report that back to the league for,
And I was
money?
hey Mike, and I was a former player. You want me ratting out players on that?
Sure.
I can see you. So
But
you
you
feel
know what?
long and hard about this,
I've
right?
been doing this for 18 years. I still look at it as the greatest part-time job ever created. I mean, if you think about it, to have credentials that allow you to be down on the field as players are coming out for pregame warm-ups and just watching both sides, both teams, and looking, observing, writing something down on a little sheet of paper that kind of looks
look
like
at this.
something like
Oh.
that. That's basically your top
Wow,
shelf.
let's take a look at this.
Where
Where else would you get this,
And,
ladies and gentlemen, on any sports show in the United States? In fact, oh my goodness, look at this book. I won't name it.
That's
That's my
I would
top
not do
secret
that.
information.
I would not
I'm
do
gonna
that.
make
I
offers
would not
today.
do that. I would not do that.
Nice
There's
chicken.
a couple
Am
of
I
guys
on that
from the
list?
Colts.
Are you
No,
on
you
that
didn't
list?
make the list. But anyway,
Brady will boxes.
Now, here, put this away.
Now, wait a
because
second.
the longer you let
Jimmy.
him go, Jim, the more dangerous
I will
he's
say
gonna
this.
become
Wait a
with
second.
that,
I will
okay?
say
I'll
this.
put
When you and I talked last
You're
week,
not touching this.
Brady
There
was
was
going to
a
wear
photo.
Uggs before the game
it
started
was the
too.
Ravens game, wasn't it? The Gronkowski got. So Gronkowski was showing
yeah. His
rear end crack.
Yeah, his butt crack was showing.
All right, his butt crack was showing. There's a fine here, isn't
No,
there?
no.
See, you can show
Well,
the butt
I mean,
crack,
Did you
but
make him
been-
change? Did you make him?
No, I'm not touching that.
Wait a minute. You guys know it's all about the base. It's about the base.
The only thing the league would have issues with is whatever
It's all
sort of
about the
underwear he
base.
was wearing.
Yeah.
Because that's just free advertising
ball.
for
Base
whatever
balls.
the pair of
Fruit of the
runnies
Loom.
he had on it.
Hold on.
Converse helmet.
Stop right now. I want to hear this because I get on
we
all
had
the
that
young
photo. Did you
guys
find that
I
photo?
work with.
Gronkowski?
All these young people that I work with, a
Showing
lot of
butt
young
crack.
people,
Gronkowski.
about wearing their
Search it.
pants a certain length, Mike. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
They wear their pants way down here, and you see the
I
underwear.
hate that.
So no. So now, if all the brothers decide in the league, Gronkowski can get away with it. Let's start pulling their stuff down and being freak on the field. What's gonna happen then, Mr. Uniform Cop? Then you gotta stop somebody. Then
Why
you
don't-
gotta stop him, Jim.
Why don't we
'Cause if you
bring
let
in?
him go-
Let's bring in the boss, Mr. Kraft. You know, I'm excited that we're gonna be going to Arizona and playing. And Jim has been doing a great job, and it's an open bar here tonight, so we're excited about that. And I love chicken
Absolutely.
wings, and I'm all about the base. And deflated balls, but it's a good thing
So
that
how far, Jim?
we're moving
How
on.
far are you gonna let him go?
We're all patriots.
What if we're all patriots? What
You're
if
trying to make
what
it
if the
so-
brothers?
It ain't gonna
What if
happen.
the brothers come out? And they decide to go freak downtown ghetto city, and we're gonna lower our stuff like Gronkowski has.
Well, you
his.
know what? That's not going to happen. Not on my shift.
That's right.
Okay. Now you will
Because
you
the
will
jersey
touch that,
should be
in other
tucked
words.
in at all times.
Oh, but
All right?
Gronkowski's is not. We're seeing butt crack.
Well, you know what? They
That's because he got the pain.
That was a tackle.
That was a tackle.
that was a tackle. He was being brought down. from behind.
Occupational hazard.
As you know, you can't tackle Gronkowski.
Keep this in mind, ladies and gentlemen. This way come up again. Go ahead.
He's healthy in the Super Bowl. That's all I care
I
about.
love to take it in there. Go
The
ahead.
underwear manufacturer got some free publicity. Let's put it that way.
Fruit
There
of
was
the
no
Loom.
underwear.
No, he had something on. He's not wearing the exact things that
Was
guys
not
in my
commando.
era.
No
We're not
fine, though, right?
commando.
He
No,
won't get a
no,
man.
no,
Okay.
absolutely not. Not on something like that, because I
been
mean
all
that's an accidental sort of
Yeah.
thing.
He's
and
been
the
all
pants
over.
went back up,
He's
but
been all
there
over
was
the
a Facebook shot or YouTube shot.
Yeah,
of a
no,
little
no.
butt crack. sort of thing that-
Absolutely saw that online.
Not that I look for stuff like that, but it did get shown to me.
I'm sure.
So
Yeah,
what,
yeah,
will
right.
the
You've got
league
sources now.
contact you on something like that?
Not
No?
on something like that. Absolutely not. No, indifferent.
All right.
They're gonna get lower and lower.
No.
So as I
I
said,
know players and how crazy they get. We're gonna try this.
this darn inflatable gate thing is just
Sad.
sad.
Yeah.
And it just, why do they let them win the way they win on the field? Let them win on the field.
Well,
this game was
You
determined
play with a
on
rugby
look,
ball last night, and the
That's
Colts
right.
weren't going to
That's
win.
What was
That's
more
so
embarrassing was Jim Harbaugh didn't understand, couldn't figure it out, so he had to say deceptive. Well, I think there's been a lot of deception over the years because when I call a play in, I go like this. Well, if everybody's being honest, then why are you going like this? It's that simple.
That's a good point. That's a great point.
Let's go back to Marshall Faulk. He still thinks the Patriots spied on the Super Bowl.
Right.
Okay?
Of course.
They're all on the sidelines doing this. Why is that?
I think we better be real careful when we go down that road with me, because I've interviewed several hundred NFL players, and it wasn't just that game. There's other games that have been in question, and they're gonna throw this at you. If they weren't, then why did they get caught, and why were they fined? Simple as that.
Because they were told a week before that they couldn't do
Then
it.
answer my question. Why is every coach doing this on the sideline? Because
Mike,
somebody is
I
upstairs
totally-
in a booth with binoculars
Mike, I totally agree
watching the
with
play
you.
being
What
called.
I'm telling you
everything's being
what's
recorded.
sitting on the books and's there. You can't erase that now. And all of a sudden, you took these files and they got hidden away like the Watergate papers or like the Warren report. We can't see them. We don't know what's going on. We don't know how this whole thing came about. And all that information is sitting in a safe in NFL headquarters. And that's what infuriates journalists like me, investigative reporters, people who want to know. So it'll keep coming up. Believe me, it's going to keep coming up. Back to you, because this is more important to me.
Until February 1st, when it's all put to bed.
That's
right.
true.
Take the pats and the points.
And isn't that why it's so important for them to win this game, to get that darn thing off their back?
In today's free agency and salary cap, this is the great. I'm not being a homer.
Say it.
I'm being
I agree
a realist. I'm
100%
being a
with you.
sports fan. This is the greatest coach in the modern day era with salary caps and free agency to continuously bring players in that can work their system, take
Right.
people out of a heat pile, and put them in a Corey Dillon, bad player. Just wanted his ring, and he got it. He
Terrell
brings players in.
Is gonna
They're
get a
2
ring.
plays away
Like
from winning
Garrett-
2 more Super Bowls.
How's Pittsburgh
2
feel
plays
today,
away.
by the way? How's Pittsburgh feel? That guy
That's the one
was
that got away.
pretty good, huh?
We don't want him.
Can you believe that?
No.
The way he was juking yesterday?
Gentlemen, you better know the story. Be careful.
Okay.
You're sitting with a journalist. This man walked off the field.
Yes, he did.
gets no
Yes, he
points for me for that. Ladies and
understand.
gentlemen, he is lucky to be in this league.
Nope.
And I don't care
Lucky to
about
play for
I
the
don't
Patriots,
care I
too.
don't care if you picked him up or whatever. His butt could have been suspended for the rest of the year for the stunt he pulled in that locker room that night, and then how he walked away, no team playing him, and walked away. You don't do stuff like that. So I'm not giving LeGarrette Blount any credit for anything. He is blessed to be in this position where he is.
You know what? I'd rather have him walked off the field than commit any kind of domestic violence, to commit any kind of crime that these guys are doing on a regular basis. If he's going to walk off the field,
Jimmy.
that's okay.
Jimmy.
It is.
No, it's
he
not,
doesn't, because
Jimmy.
he's not going to play, and
No,
it's his right. He doesn't want
it's
to.
not,
Like you don't
Jimmy.
have a right. You
It's
can
not,
walk off the
Jimmy.
set, Jimmy
Jimmy, that's
Myers,
true.
and you've done it. You
True.
have that right.
Yes, Jimmy, but the difference is this. You're under contract to a team. You are out there with these guys. You're supposed to be
Jimmy.
there with your, but what?
Were you under contract
No, I was done.
when you
Excuse
walked
me?
up?
Excuse me, I was done.
So you were working without a contract.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Now,
And you were
wanna
working
get
on
all
a
the
team.
facts?
No.
You want to get all
You're
the
working
facts?
on a team.
We
No, I'm
wanna-
just trying to
we
make
wanna
an
go back
analogy.
to December
Trying to make
2nd,
a comparison.
1979. He doesn't want to go back there.
No,
Ray
no.
Steelers?
No.
No.
Greatest on-air resignation
walked
in the
off
history of
the set.
TV.
And
But
what's
all
that?
said, all
Never
of
saw that?
No, tell
all
me.
that said.
For who?
Tell him. Tell
Tell
him
me.
the story,
Channel
Jimmy.
4.
Channel 4?
Yeah. I was the weekday
With,
weekend
with
anchor.
Lobel and Newmeyer?
No,
No,
way
before them.
before them.
And
Way
what were you
before them.
covering?
Had the highest numbers in the city,
was
and they would
weekend
not give me
sports
the
guy.
5-day week job. man.
What were you
Understand?
covering?
I covered everything, sports.
Sports.
Yeah.
He was a weekend sports guy.
I'm the last guy in this town to do 9 minutes of sports
And a
on
half
a Sunday night, and a half an hour newscast. And was told after working there for 7 years that I was not going to advance to the number 1 position. When I decided to leave, okay, well, we'll allow you to leave. While at the same time, and this is fact, ladies and gentlemen, this is a conjecture, I'm looking right at you when I say this, then I find out around the country that my name is being blacklisted, to which it still is to this day to a degree, for standing up for things that I believe in. So you can say what you want about contract and so forth. Marshawn Lynch did not, LeGarrette Blount did not do the right thing. And remember, he's playing for a guy in Mike Tomlin that has respect straight across this league.
Yes.
To pull the stunt that he pulled. And remember, you're not talking about some angel. You're talking about a guy with a history of this foolishness from college when he punched the guy on the field to getting in several fights on teams to having problems everywhere he's been. He came here, had a great season, decided I'm leaving. So he leaves. They let him go. Now, all of a sudden, he's out the door. Okay, we need a running back. We bring him back. So it's going to be hard for you to explain to me about this very immature, very imbalanced brain person sometimes because he creates his own problems.
Well, as you know, many athletes are temperamental. But wouldn't you also think that Mike Tomlin, just like in Nomar in 04, he was a cancer in the clubhouse.
Yes, he was.
And they had to get rid of him.
That's correct.
So, contract or no contract, we want you just to get out of here to get our harmony. And we
Sometimes
all know
it's
what
a-
happened there. So sometimes you have to cut your losses.
Mike, you know, this is
just
the
move
best.
on.
This is the best part about sitting and talking to guys like you because I go in those locker rooms and I talk to these guys and I know.
Sure.
See, nobody's going to tell me what I don't know.
Sure.
Because I'll give you two better examples. Percy Harvin. How much better do you think this team that the Patriots would be facing if they had to face Percy Harvin on that field with Seattle?
Sure.
Percy Harvin talked his way out of Seattle. Sure. You got it? Percy Harvin said, hey, I'm bigger than this, and so forth.
And
So
Pete
Russell
Carroll
Wilson, Russell Wilson, you're not throwing me the ball. This is what it comes down
Sure.
to. Now, you have a situation right now that very few people want to discuss, but it's been dangled out there because I first put it out there. Marshawn Lynch may not be with this team after the Super Bowl.
Sure.
Because it's caused so many problems for this team that, and remember, this is a super running back. But it reaches a point, Mike, where you can't let him destroy what's going on.
I said to Jim on the way here, just casually talking, just talking sports. I said, we've all known Marshall Lynch, what he's doing. Marshawn Lynch, excuse me. Okay. I call him Marsha. How's that? Because he's a whiny. Maybe he should just take away what his privilege is, which is to play sports. Okay. He doesn't want to interview the media
No,
now.
he does-
He's doing
not a
just
media
enough.
favorite.
Right.
He's doing just enough. Yes, no, yes, no.
And you
now
could
he
say
doesn't want
the
to
same
conform.
thing about LeGarrette Blunt.
You absolutely
He walked
could.
away, leave his butt out there. Let him realize that he's not going to make these kind of checks, that he's not going to have this type of platform to do his thing. And you watch how fast some of these guys would come along. Jim, you
He
remember
abandoned
how-
his team. He abandoned his
Exactly. You remember how difficult it was when you played. If a player had a poor, and Jim, you had some characters on those teams. I covered them. But there was a certain line you did not cross, Jim, because you hurt the team when you did that.
And I was fearful for a job. I would never
Right.
walk off
That's
a
right.
field.
That's the other
Even
thing.
back in the late 80s, I thought making what I was making back then was great,
Right.
let alone making millions and millions
Right.
of dollars. Now to have an attitude to walk off the field because you don't feel like your playing time was what it should have
Well, he
been.
obviously believes in his ability, and he
well,
obviously believes that he
It's
can
not a
help
que-
the team.
It's not his
It's
ability.
not a question, Jim.
his
See,
attitude.
Jimmy.
I
see, Jimmy,
understand
because
his
he's
attitude,
playing- because
but
he's playing for the
Belichick's going to do
Patriots.
whatever he needs to do to make his team better, including taking a bad apple if he has to.
What happened? What happened to the famous?
Yeah.
What happened to the famous
no,
Patriot
no.
way?
He'll-
We have this Patriot way
Patriot way
that's
is-
been so
Hang
that's
on a
been
second.
so
Long gone.
destroyed.
Hang
Don't
on.
even go. Don't go.
It
Don't
isn't
go.
about the morality thing of the
Don't go.
Patriots way as
Not a
much as
question
it
of that.
is next man up. In other words, do your job. That's
Yeah,
the
that's
new
do
Patriot
your
way.
job.
Okay? If you go down, the next guy has to step up. That's more.
That's not do your job towel.
No,
I
it's
missed
not.
that
But there is one.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah.
There is one.
But the
Right.
bottom line, what I'm trying to tell you guys is that there is so much dysfunction within this league, Mike. So many guys that are on the border's edge. You know what I'm sitting here thinking? Tonight, with you two guys, I'll tell you the truth. What the hell's going to happen between now and the Super Bowl? That's going to.
I said by Thursday.
Somebody does something.
Absolutely.
You got 2 whole
There's some good
weeks to
sound
keep
bites,
these
I'm
guys.
sure,
Right.
coming from
Somebody's coming out with doing something crazy, and you can be saying to yourself, "Okay, here we go." Now, if memory serves me correctly, wasn't it? Trying to think of his name.
Who got caught with the hookers down in Florida?
No. I'm
Which
talking about
time?
no. I'm talking about
Sorry.
Cincinnati. I'm talking about Cincinnati.
Oh, that was
Stanley.
the,
Stanley
Daryl-
was it Jennings?
No.
Stanley who?
Hang on a
Kick
second.
returner.
Yes.
Night before the Super Bowl.
Right.
Coked out.
Little coked
Right.
out. Yeah.
What about the
Wilson.
Oakland
Stanley
player?
Wilson.
Stanley Wilson.
There
Okay.
you
What
go.
about what about the Oakland center?
Uh,
Bipolar. Before the
sure.
Tampa.
Right.
Before,
Rich,
before the
Rich,
Tampa.
Richie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that.
Now
I'm
that's
just
it.
saying. I'm just saying that
Cleveland
this guy went off the tracks. He's the center of the team, and nobody figured how important that was. Gannon didn't get a clean snap in the whole game. In the whole game. Now this is a team that rolled through the AFC. Everybody thought they were going to kill Tampa. Bingo. You lose the centerpiece. Jim, how important is the center?
Got to get the ball to the quarterback.
Right, and that's why I was most fearful about yesterday's game, and I thought Ryan Wendell just played great. You know,
I wasn't worried about
Did
that.
very
he had a
well.
whole week to
Ryan went
prepare,
out, had a whole week prepared.
and that made a difference. But I mean, did they miss Brian Stork? I think they ran the ball pretty well yesterday.
Yeah, they
Granted,
did.
I think
But you're
your
running
high
against
school
the
team-
Colts.
I was gonna say,
You're running
his
against
high
the
school team
Colts. You're
would
not
have been
running
able to
it.
run against
Right.
the
You're
Colts.
not running it against anybody. You're not
I
running against the
understand.
Detroit front or
Right.
anybody else. You're running against the Colts. Jim, think of this too. as I'm looking at this,
He's good, isn't he?
And
Yeah,
He's
well,
really
well,
entertaining.
we had this guy named LeGarrette Blunt. That was
I know.
a discarder from Pittsburgh. Get him going back on that again, huh?
No, he'll
no,
come
no,
back.
no, no,
5
no,
minutes
no,
up.
no, he can be done. But as I look at it, I just try to break down the game in certain contexts. You played on special teams. How important will special teams be in a Super Bowl game? Because it's
Third of your game.
Third of the game.
Third of the game, correct? And
Truly
sometimes it can be 40% of the game. Am I correct?
Back in our run, my rookie year, which was 1985, and our run to the Super Bowl, special teams played a great,
Huge difference.
very important role in the outcomes of all three of those games.
Particularly that game in Miami, because you dominated field position and you drove the ball when you had to. Now, then you come up against the Bears. What made them so great
Oh,
in your
jeez.
opinion?
Where do you begin?
All three aspects they covered defensively, right?
They
46 defense?
That was just a team of destiny.
They were
There's just
so
no way we were
good,
going to beat
though.
the Bears that year.
And you know
Whether
what's
it was
really
us in
sad?
the Super Bowl or whomever from the AFC was going to
And,
represent
and what's
them.
happened to Jim McMahon is so sad.
Yeah, that's he's a poster child right now for dementia.
Yep.
A lot of things going on with the NFL players. and-
Walter Payton's dead.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about
Herschel
you think-
Walker can barely walk.
Yeah.
Earl Campbell can barely walk.
That's right.
I mean, it's a tough game, and I understand that. Your knee caused you to have to leave the game, and you mentioned
knees.
you made a very good point when you said once you're away from football for a year.
Game goes on without you. Or the minute they can find somebody to do your job just as well for half as much.
That's right. Well,
That's who they pick, too.
real life.
Yeah,
I just want to know.
That's
Tell
every
you right now.
occupation, but more so in football, and especially in
Yes.
football.
Yeah.
Especially if you're like a guy like me, a special teams guy, a guy that's covering kicks, covering punts, one of those role players, backup players. That's especially true when they find somebody to do your job just as well, half as much. And even back in the '80s, when I think my last year I was scheduled to make $240,000 or something, and you get hurt, you get banged up in training camp, you get put on IR. And back then, the rules had just gotten changed, so if you went on injured reserve before the regular season started, that meant you were out for the entire year.
And you didn't get paid anything?
Well, if you went on injured reserve, you would have gotten what your contract calls for.
Okay.
But if you were on IR before the regular season started, that meant you were going to be out for the entire year. And teams would make that decision that they didn't want to pay you $240,000 so you could rehab a hamstring or a knee all season long.
Have you read Nate Jackson's book? If you get a chance, Never Getting Up or Hard Getting Up. I have it in my thing here. It's by far one of the best exposes. Slow Getting Up. Kind of, he was a marginal, he's 6-year NFL veteran.
Relate to that?
Hurt a lot, but what they put them through to get them back on the field is eye-opening, to say the least.
Think about this, though. Something you just said about special teams.
To say the least.
The Colts get the Patriots off the field. First series. Defense takes a breath. Thank you. We punt the ball. Josh Cribbs fumbles it. The defense takes a deep breath and says, "Oh my gosh, now we got to go back."
Right back up.
We just took the breath saying, "We stopped Brady once. we just stopped him." How deflating is that for the defense?
Demoralizing. Yeah.
There's that word again.
Demoralizing.
Deflating.
Yeah, you don't want to go right back out there as a defensive unit because, as you said,
You've done your job.
yeah, job was done.
Yeah.
And then you get
And
a
this
special
guy
teams
screwed
blunder.
it up.
I mean, you have hands. Why is it hitting you?
In the helmet.
Well, I mean, and at that point, the rain wasn't even a factor yet.
Could have been more air in that ball, and it rose up.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
But no,
Conspiracy.
right off the helmet, right into,
Right.
he made a nice play by hanging
we
out on the
saw
ball.
that in the
First
other
down
game,
at what,
too.
the 30, 40-yard line?
Didn't we see
and-
that in the Packers game? Did
No,
you see that in the
no,
Packers
it's not only in the Packers, but think about the Packers.
Right on the
game.
kickoff.
Think about the
Shut the
Packers
ball.
game. No, think about
Yep.
the Packers game. You're talking about the kickoff gets fumbled. You're already down. Was it 6-0 if I'm right? They just kicked 2 field goals.
6-0.
Now your special teams
16
comes in,
nothing.
bang, and you're right there, and you get the ball. When you made those plays, it lifts the entire team, doesn't it?
Offense can't wait to get back on the field, and maybe in the next play they're going to put it in the end zone.
Now, anytime you can score special teams wise, your team has such a huge advantage of winning that particular game. I know there's stats out there. I'm not coming prepared with the percentages of that, but you score special teams, you stand a lot better chance on winning that ball game or scoring defensively. Anything that would change a normal run of a ball game.
Also
But just to
field
play like
position,
that.
Jim. Also
that's
field position,
always a
because
key.
if you remember,
Very crucial.
If you remember, Seattle kept starting deep in their territory. Very few teams are going to drive the field anymore. You're not going to get all the way down 80 yards. There aren't that many 80-yard drives. So if we can pin them inside the 20, we got a damn good chance of getting that ball back on the better side of the 50, unless they get a miraculous punt or whatever, which tells me how great Ray Guy was, because he's the only punter in the Hall of Fame. But think about it, Jim, you played during that time. This guy could change the field from his end zone. He could flip the field. And people don't even realize how important flipping the field is.
That's why you see more and more teams now are actually drafting punters in the draft. But before, that was a free agent pickup.
Right. Yeah.
And you get some punters that, as you're saying, change the field position. That's why they're being drafted now.
And this is why a guy like Edelman is so valuable.
Oh.
Because he can play special teams. Believe it or not,
Best punt
Amendola
returner,
can
I
play
think,
special teams too. They had both of them back there last night. I said, now if you get both of those guys back there, but now you have Seattle saying, look, we have good special teams too. We're all flying up and down the field. And that's why I think this contest could be so very interesting. I really do.
I just want to see a game goes up and down. I want to see a better Super Bowl than was last year. That's all I got to say. That was one of the most disappointing.
Lopsided. Sure.
Well, remember, gentlemen, first play snapped over your head for a safety, game's over. What'd you just say about game-turning plays, Jim?
Right.
He's calling for the snap, and then he looks this way, and the ball's over his head in the end zone, 2-0. Changed the game, just as
Screwed up everybody's pool.
you
The
got
squares.
that one right.
Squares.
Well, I think got that
I'm
one.
in on the squares.
Just the
squares. That's all I
just
do.
the same
Those
as
squares.
Brady with the intentional grounding in the end zone against the Giants. Remember
Right.
that one, Jim?
Oh, no,
You knew that was
absolutely.
going to come back to bite him.
Absolutely.
And back to
First
your,
play of the game.
To your
Drove me
point
nuts.
about Green Bay, just as a fan watching the game, and just to soak up all the knowledge that Belichick has been offering for the past, 13, 14 years, he always talks about the three phases of the game. Now, when I watch games, I look and see these early turnovers or missed opportunities, and Brady talks about it too. We didn't convert enough in the red zone. We didn't put 6 up. We didn't put 7 up. We didn't put 6 up. Kicking field goals. I knew when Green Bay was only putting up those field goals in the beginning of the game. I knew right there. I just as a fan, I was like,
First thing
these
I
are
said,
gonna
I'm
come.
there. I
Because
said,
Seattle,
they're in trouble.
because
Mike, I said,
Seattle,
they're in trouble.
Seattle
I said, because
has been known.
That's what I said.
They
because-
always come back in the second half.
I said, look, 16-0.
It's
I
not
said,
safe.
that's not enough.
It's not safe.
I said, that's not enough. I said, they got to come out and they got to get them. And then, Jim, what about this one? Here's the killer. Burdett's interception.
Sure.
The whole sideline is clear because Russell had got knocked out before trying to make a tackle. He was the only person there that could have made a tackle. He could have walked into the end zone. Game over. Game over. No fair sharing sequence.
Let's show it to you.
Game over.
can't show it to them.
It would have been game over. You understand?
Absolutely.
Packer fan, huh?
Yeah, he is.
Go get a chuckle out of that one then.
It could have been game over.
Yes, he could.
He kneels down, he slides. Guy says, because Julius Pepper said,
Right.
we'll take this, and we're home. You're never home until the clock says
Take
0, 0,
By the way,
0,
that's when
and
I went
you're-
upstairs and announced, I think the Packers are going to the Super Bowl.
And how'd that turn out for you?
Yeah.
Remember what I
You
said
wonder why
about
I
the
never make
Packers?
predictions, Jim.
So I said, remember I said those Packers? Sorry.
But
No,
Jim-
I think the
He'll take
entire stadium
I
that
know
was
you-
watching the
I
game
know, you can blame me. It's
wanted
okay.
the Packers to win that.
Yeah.
The cheers for at the stadium
wanted the
last night
Packers.
when
I
I was
want
down
the
on
Packers.
Wheels.
We wanted
Oh,
a
my
90, we wanted a
God.
96 Super Bowl over
Right.
again.
And
Not
he
only
wanted
that,
revenge for
not
the
only
regular
that,
season
you wanted
loss.
revenge.
Yeah.
And remember
Desmond
the-
Howard.
Yeah,
That's right.
Okay, but remember in that game. Remember the game earlier this season. Packers down there.
Sure.
4.
That's right.
And they had to settle for field goal. I try to tell my colleague all the time, field
you?
That
goals
would be
are
me.
not going to win championships. You have to score touchdowns. So when Green Bay got there and they're a half-inch away from the goal line, Mike, I'm telling you, if we can't get a half a yard, we're leaving them there at 99.5 yards away. I don't need points that early in the game.
Well, Mike McCarthy cost him that game yesterday. In the first half, when he did not convert touchdowns
Yep.
instead of field goals,
Yep.
that's what cost them the
Yep.
game.
No question.
And then,
He
and
left
then obviously
8
the
points
series.
on the field, Mike. Mike, he left 8 points.
You
That's
are a
Jamie, our
stockholder,
producer,
right?
Who was a stockholder with the Packers,
He's
and
a
once
stockholder
Mike
with the
McCarthy
Packers.
fired.
Why wouldn't
But
he
he
be?
left 8
That's right.
points on the field.
your good
Mike.
fans are.
He left
That's right.
8 viable points on that field.
Absolutely. And then the series of events that happened after, clearly that was, the guy at the with the gentleman, the Boston, is that his name? The
Bostic. Brandon Bostic.
He knew his one
Buckner-esque.
job was to block.
Yep.
Oh,
But you know what happens?
This is Pop Warner, Jim. You know, you learn this.
Jim,
Your
you're
job
an
is
athlete.
to.
Jim, what do we call it? Trying to make the hero play. He said,
Instead
"Oh,
of
the
doing
ball.
your job."
I'll do this instead of doing what we practiced all week. I see the ball, I can get it.
Caught up in the moment.
Instead of all you had to
Lack
do,
of fundamentals.
right? All you had to do
Doing
is
your
just
job.
say, block him.
that's right.
Jordy will get the ball, and he's got the surest hands on the team.
Sure.
Right.
Game's over. And now you leave the door open. And how many times have we seen it with the Patriots? You give Brady an ounce of air, you're going to lose the game. I'm gonna tell you, he's gonna find a way to beat you.
Amazing.
He is going, and that to me is what I love about him. His greatness is the fact that it's not over unless you have the ball and you're doing the victory. Kneel down.
And that's what they
and
all
you better
say.
pray you don't
Right.
fumble, Jim.
In the
You
huddle,
better
that's what
pray
they
you
all
don't do
say.
something wrong.
Right.
You know, it's like they say Montana, right? The drive,
my God.
the Super Bowl.
Oh, my God.
He looked over in the crowd. He looked back, goes, "Hey, is that John Candy?"
Yeah. Yeah.
They had like
John
nine-
was with us.
That's right.
They had 95
92 yards away.
Yeah, in
On the
Montana
8-yard
goes.
line. Is that John Candy over there? And everybody's saying, what? What are you talking
little
about?
loosey-
And that's what they say when Brady's in the Brady's in the
I love
huddle.
that commercial.
Everything slows down.
Right.
Everything
Well,
slows
and can I
down
tell
when
you
he's in
something?
the huddle.
Except his adrenaline, his focus, and his joy of playing football. You watch Larry Bird. You know Larry.
Oh.
They have the same competitive fire. That nothing is more important than that next
All the great
play.
ones have it, Jimmy.
That's right.
Michael,
Right.
Magic,
That's right.
Bird,
I'm just
all
looking
of
at Ted
those
Brady.
guys, Julius Irving,
see how
all
happy
of
he
those
was?
guys have it. All of them have
He
it.
was a kid again.
He was a kid again. It's exactly what you look at. You go,
Aaron
"My God."
Rodgers had that too. We were
Yes.
watching the game
Yes.
yesterday.
Yes.
My friends, my buds, we were all watching. We were saying he has that aura
You see how
around him
calm
like
he was
Brady.
the
He was
whole
just
time?
everything slowed down.
Even when you slow the game down as an athlete, you should, and I know you know that, it becomes like, I see it and I'm just waiting for it to happen. I'm so far ahead of it. I hope I don't overrun it and get there too early. The play where he was in the pocket and he went to run, I knew they were in trouble then because he pulled up. You could see him limping.
Oh,
He limped to the sideline to get out of bounds. And I said to
Tough
myself,
SOB, though.
that is so sad. And then I'm thinking of Peyton on two bad quads trying to play. He's got two tears there. Part of the game, I understand. But when he had to get out of bounds, and he barely got out of bounds before somebody hit him, I said to myself, this is going to be tough because Seattle knows we don't have to. This guy runs. He ran against the Patriots. This guy, once he gets some open field, this guy could do damage. I mean, he can get you 20, 30 yards. Russell Wilson can do the same thing. If he sees a crease and he sees an opening, he'll pick up 20 yards, and that will flip the field. That flips the field automatically. Tom Brady's not going to try to do that.
No.
Brady's going to get as much as he can, and he's going to get down.
And when you
He's
saw
gonna
that game
stay.
yesterday, watching the game, that was not Wilson's kind of game.
No.
His game is hand it off,
Yep.
dink and dunk, look for that open lane, run occasionally. He's not that throwing down 30, 40-yard kind of passer. He's not a slinger like that.
But the magic of this guy was, as bad as he played,
Sure.
you left the door open. I've seen Tom
made one
Brady in the
pass.
same situation.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't matter.
No, I've seen Tom Brady in the same situation. I've seen him
bad
play
game, bad
horrible,
game, right.
horribly. For 3 quarters, I say, what's the score? They're down by 14. Please, Brady's got plenty of time. I look at time.
Just saw it 2
weeks
weeks
ago.
ago.
Mike,
Yeah, right.
I look at time. I never ever look at the score. I say to myself, okay, they're down 14. Third quarter, please. I said, Brady's gonna get him 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter alone. So they better figure out a way. And then think about this, Jim. Here's the best part. They drive the lanes of the field, and this is where you're an official. So they drive the lanes of the field. This is Baltimore, 28-28 game. They're inside the 10-yard line, right? And I will see this play. Now remember, Revis has just gotten called for 2 penalties that he hasn't been called for all year.
Sure.
Holding and pass interference. Stevie Smith turns him into a knot. He runs a curl and flare. He runs a curl inside the 2 and a flare back out on second down, right? Third down. Revis grabs him, and you see it on the replay. He grabs him. Referees there, they're like, well, I'm not calling that
Let
third
that
one.
one go.
I'm letting that one go. And it changed everything. Why? Because they settled for a field goal instead of a touchdown. And then Brady gets the ball and says, here's life. We're going the length of the field. They go down and score. Game over. Now, of course, yes. Flacco did not see number 30. He didn't see the
No,
safety there.
he didn't.
Because he felt he had him open. He threw it too much to the inside. Throws a little bit deeper. Game. But This is what the great ones do. And I've had a chance to study. I've studied for 40 years. I've been watching these guys. Bart Starr. And when I look at that, all you have to do is go to the NFL channel and look at that 1967 Ice Bowl game. When they are 60-something yards away, and they've got 4:45 to go, and he starts taking them down the field. Now, they haven't done anything in 2 quarters. He said, don't worry, we got the ball back. And then he gets to the end, and he goes to Lombardi and says, well, he says, look, I can't hand it to the back because they keep falling. I can get it and fall into the end zone. Lombardi said, well, then, damn it, then do it. Let's get the hell out of here. Because they were not going for any tie. Because remember, Jim, they could have kicked the field goal, tied the game, and gone to overtime. He said, no. We're going for it now. Right. And that's what I believe. If Brady and them were in the same situation as Green Bay was yesterday, on the 1-yard line, they're going.
Yeah.
They're going.
So.
And if you leave them there, we're going.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love the way they push the line. And by the way, James Devlin, most underrated player in the Patriots.
Great young man,
roster.
too. Very smart guy.
What do you have? That one run last year, he had his 4th effort, right? He went forward, back, finally got
There's
in.
no give up in him, and
I love
that touchdown yesterday. Just
he pushed him in.
Yeah.
It was great.
He did say,
Once he
said
got
after
his
the
feet
game,
underneath
if I
him,
didn't make it
yeah.
in, I wasn't going to get back in.
That's
I wasn't going to get back in the game.
But isn't that illegal?
You know what? Not anymore.
No.
Not anymore. You can
Not
push.
anymore.
You can push them ahead.
Yes, they
correct?
all do it.
Well,
But then, hold on.
They all
you
do
ever
it now.
notice, like, even when Brady's doing a quarterback sneak?
Have you read the rules?
Well,
Because I'll never forget in that same Ice Bowl game, Chuck Marcin pushes the part and raises his arms up. Everybody thinks he's raising for a touchdown. He said, I wasn't. I was raising my arms to make sure the referee knows I didn't touch Bart Starr and push him into the end
The
zone.
rules change. They'll allow. They do it. In fact,
They
you
do
see
it all the time.
Even in the middle of the field, they'll do that. Mr. Brady, outstanding. Okay, we talked about LeGarrette Blount. We talked about this. Who's going to shadow Russell Wilson on the Patriots defense? Is it Jamie Collins? Is it Dante Hightower? Who do you think?
You're finally looking at this thing?
No.
Are you going along too?
I mean, we've actually
You
covered
guys
most
know?
of these things.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I did
He's a
this-
pro.
I did this.
I taught him.
I see that.
He's good.
Everything he
I
doesn't
love
know.
saying that.
Everything I don't know,
love
he
it.
taught me.
I love it. I love that. Go
I
ahead.
learned so many lessons from you. Yes, I did.
So what do you got here?
Hold on, here's good. No show. Seahawks, Russell Wilson versus NC.
Careful now. Careful.
Okay.
You start
Was
reading
it
that
no
stuff up
show?
and start reading this off.
Or Green Bay.
Be careful.
Defense.
Who's
what
gonna
was it?
shout
Were
him?
they a no-show
Hey,
or was it
Jamie.
the Green Bay defense
Hey,
that made them a no-show?
Jim, watch it.
Uh-oh.
Jamie,
There we
bring a
go.
quick
Go
copy of this
There
from
you
you.
Clay Matthews played a
Season's
great
over
game.
at this
Clay
point
Matthews
anyway.
played a great game.
Yes,
I
he
tell
did.
you what.
Great
he's-
backer.
He's an amazing player.
And I believe, didn't the Pats have a chance or an opportunity to draft him?
I think so,
Clay
yeah.
Matthews,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, a couple years
But
ago when he first came
the
out.
big one was
But somebody
they
else-
did
yeah,
go
I
after
understand.
Julius Peppers, who played his ass off.
Oh, yeah.
Coming down the
Oh,
stretch
sure.
of the season because that fumble against Dallas, only thing between DeMarcus Murray and that goal line was green grass and air. That was it. And he reached around the block. Remember, Jimmy reached around the block to knock the ball out of his hand and save the game. But that's the kind of player Julius Peppers is.
You know who it could be? Could be Patrick Chung. Although that takes the safety away. But I
You
think
talking about spying on Wilson?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You got
No, I don't
you're
think
not gonna
it's
spy
bad.
with safety. No.
I don't think you're going to have somebody just set aside.
coming up with strange
No,
ideas.
no,
I
no.
think
Bill
it's,
Belichick.
it's just going to be blitzing off the edge. They're gonna put
It'll
some
be
kind of formation
Collins.
that he
It'll be.
Collins.
It'll be.
Collins
he's
on the
never
outside.
seen.
Probably be Collins.
Right. He's got to
It'll
come
be
up with
Collins.
something. How can he keep coming up with stuff that no one's seen? That's
doesn't.
the most unbelievable.
No,
He
it's
watches
not,
way too
Jimmy.
much film.
No, it's not, Jimmy. It's a man. It's a man that is prepared, who over prepares for everything.
Yeah, 'cause he's looking
the
for
great
every
ones
edge.
have done that. Listen, let me tell you something. Let me say, when you played a Bill Walsh team, you knew you were in trouble.
Sure.
I've been in those rooms, listening to these, and I've interviewed the offensive and defensive coordinator and said, okay, what are you going to do defensively? We're going to shift to this, da-da-da-da-da. And I'm sitting up in the booth like everybody else is kind of look, oh, yeah. I'm going, watch this. They're going to free this guy with a clean look at getting into the backfield. The key is getting home. Brady does not like an A-gap blitz. They're going to try the A-gap blitz, and the Patriots will do their best to prepare for it. But the key is, can they run the ball? If they can run the ball against this team, they got a shot. Because whoever's going to control the clock, I'm going to tell you right now, this is not going to be one of those games where you're going to go up and down the field. Because if Marshawn Lynch starts running the ball and they start eating time off the clock, it'll be just like when they played the Giants. All of a sudden, you're looking up, it's second quarter, whole quarter's gone. Remember, Giants had a 7-minute drive, then an 8-minute drive. You're talking about 15 minutes, that's a whole quarter of a game gone, and they scored both times. What I'm saying is that the first team that stops the run and doesn't make any mistakes, like you said,
Yeah,
Jim,
no.
no special teams. Let's say it's a clean game special teams-wise. let's say it's just a clean game, you contained everything in special teams, then it's still going to come down to who executes. And I think it's going to be hard for the Patriots against that defense because, remember, Denver scored more points than anybody, and they took that team
Yes, they did. They
apart.
controlled.
They took them apart.
Yeah, but
That was last year.
They took them apart.
Respectfully, that was last year.
Yeah.
Seattle had their struggles, as you know, in the
Yes,
beginning of
they
the year,
did.
Yeah.
as the Patriots did.
Yeah.
And you know the
Played
Patriot
best
way.
at the right
now
time.
now they're
They're
peaking.
playing
They're
their best
healthy.
at the right time.
They're
Right
playing.
time.
It's the two.
I don't
It's
think
the
they're
two
playing
number
their
ones.
best, Jimmy. I think they're
played
playing. I think they're
perfect
playing at a
yesterday.
high level, and I know that Seattle is not playing high level. Listen, if they turn the ball over that many times against the Patriots will score 50 points on them.
Absolutely.
But I don't think they're going to turn the ball over that many times. That's like an aberration. You have one game like that, and the great teams find a way to win when you play that badly.
I
Because there was
think-
no way they were supposed to win that game.
I think the Patriots will give what they always give. They're going to let you drive down the field, take some time off the clock, give you your field goals, shut you down in the red zone, and it's probably going to be a 17-10 halftime. And I just believe that Wilson, they'll get to him in the third and fourth quarter, and I think it's going to be a 30-31-20 Patriots win. I just feel that they're playing well. They got too many weapons.
I'll
They're
make
too
what they
versatile.
need. No.
They're
They
going to
want
make
this
Whistle.
game
They're going to
so
make Wilson
bad.
make that mistake.
They didn't have
They're in
more
better shape
weapons
now
than
than they
Denver
were
had last
that
season.
Well, that's-
Denver had weapons all
what I mean?
over the field, and they took one
this
at a
guy.
time. We're taking this guy away. We're taking this guy away. We're taking this guy away. We're
What is
taking this
elbow?
guy away.
That's an ulnar nerve.
Green Bay beat
No, wait, wait.
Seattle early in the year.
Ulnar-ritis, that happens.
We could have beat Green
No, they
Bay.
didn't.
That's
Green
why
Bay
we
beat
did.
Seattle.
No, they did not.
In the,
Seattle killed them.
in the beginning, I thought Green Bay beat
They
Seattle. Am I
killed
wrong?
them. No, you're wrong.
No, Seattle beat them
Seattle
bad.
killed them. They beat them 36-16.
Yeah, 30,
So Green Bay did not beat Seattle at all this year.
No.
Okay.
No.
No.
That's right.
But Green Bay beat themselves yesterday.
Yes, they did.
They beat Seattle yesterday.
I think so,
And
too.
we
Yeah, they
should
had
have
'em
beaten.
beat.
We had a chance to beat Green
And
Bay.
Baltimore
And
beat
they
you.
played
We could have
poorly.
beat.
And
Patriots-
Baltimore beat you.
That's right. The Patriots played. Well,
Correct.
He's got a point.
Baltimore beat you. So you have two teams
still think they
that
played.
had games they should have lost. Now it all comes together. It coagulates. It just comes together, to congeal together to say, okay, look, let's see what happens if we both play our best games. It's still going to come down to defense. Now the Patriots defense will have to play over their heads for them to win this game if it comes down to that. All Seattle has to do is play the way they played all year. Because truth be told, they kept them in the game yesterday. Because that game could have got away so fast, it would have been gone.
When's the last time you saw a pick'em? It's a pick'em right now.
Yeah.
And it was,
It was at 2.5.
Yeah,
we went down.
Was a
we-
pick'em.
we were trying to
And
figure
he
it
had-
out. You
It was
remember
2.5. No.
It went
no.
from 2.5 to 1.5,
Jim,
and then
can
they
you
took
figure
it
out
off the
the
board.
last time you saw
Last
Pickens?
time
Nope.
you saw Pick'em in the Super
The
Bowl.
wise
I
guys
can't
will
remember.
move the line back and forth, but I don't
No,
know.
it's a pickle. It's still going to be a pickle.
I
Like
think
you
there's
said.
more Patriots fans than Seattle. I know there's a lot of haters out there, but I'm thinking there's
Don't
probably
for-
more Pats
and
fans.
Don't forget, though.
Well, the
keep-
worst thing
keep
could
this in
happen
mind.
is if you make them the favorite.
Sure.
what?
Yeah, they want to be the underdog.
Because, exactly. Because
Yeah, it
that's
works on their psyche.
Because,
Belichick can use that to his advantage.
No, and because if you do that, to the defending champions, you're just pissing them off. And all they're going to say is, "Oh, great, we were what was it, 10 points down last year to Denver? Wasn't it? Weren't they 10 point underdogs?
Oh, underdogs.
Yeah.
I think they were.
I'm pretty sure it was like 7.5 to
7.5.
10.
Yeah.
And they're saying, great, if you want to make the Patriots act, make them. Because it just
Belichick would love
fires
that.
us up.
Absolutely
Now,
love
Belichick
that.
would
He
like
looks
it
for
if
every
they're
inch.
the underdogs. If they come in
That's why it'll be a
2.5, Belichick would be saying, great, good. They think that they're that much better than us. We're going to show them
Keep
that.
in mind going into this weekend, all the power rankings before these two games, all the power rankings had Seattle at the top.
Sure.
Yep.
And the Patriots behind them.
Sure.
You know, and it was because of how these two games went that evened up the predictions, the betting lines or whatever. That's what's changed.
Think of this. Now, I watched the game.
I also think Richard
covered the
Sherman
game, and then I
plays
watched
a
the
big
game
factor,
over
too.
again, like I always do. 9-10 hours of watching game. Okay, I'm looking at this because I saw it against the Patriots with the Packers when they played out in Green Bay. If you give Brady the time that the Packers gave
ahead.
Rodgers yesterday, they'll have points on the board. They will have some serious points because they didn't touch him. And normally Seattle's going to get home. They're going to find a way to get there. They couldn't touch him. They did a job of protecting him yesterday, Jim, that was magnificent. That's why the offensive line felt so bad at the end of the game. We did our job.
Are power rankings out
Oh,
after
for
the
this-
Seahawks
after the-
game yesterday?
I think
'Cause
no.
they
Last
struggled.
week, no. This was the
This
last
week.
week.
Last week.
Last
was the
week,
last
you're
week of the
talking.
power
It was
rankings.
last week of the power rankings.
So this was they were done before the AFC NFC
Okay.
championships,
Yep.
and then they put them to bed after that.
I mean, that's why with Seattle struggling the way they did yesterday, it's now a pick'em game.
It's a pick 'em game.
And,
that's
because-
right.
and they
the
blow them
Patriots
out.
didn't-
So,
right.
so you're saying, yeah. So now it's
offset
about-
anything that was happening.
guys,
You know what? I
guys,
think it's great.
guys,
Great for
guys,
football.
guys.
It is.
You know,
Go ahead,
all I'm
Mike.
gonna say is this. This is why I don't make predictions, but I'm telling you, a team that's playing for history and a team that's playing to stop history, that's what should make this a great game. But do not underestimate. Do not take the game you saw Seattle play yesterday as an
No.
example.
No,
of
you
how
can't
they're
use
gonna
that as a
play.
barometer.
They've
Because
had their
I
bad
really
game.
have a feeling they're going to be so sharp. They're
Right.
going to come in there saying, "Look, just not turn it over." And the defense is going to tell them, "Look, just don't turn it over. If you don't give it back to them, we can keep this game at this level."
Yeah.
It's not.
Now-
Sometimes it's easy. Not as easy to do
Of
that as
course
you
it is.
think, Jimmy.
I agree.
Never
I
easy.
agree.
Everybody's
I agree.
going after the ball.
I agree, but I just have the feeling that, like Jim said, there'll be mistakes. Somebody will blow coverage. Somebody will do something, but the chances are that defense has less of a chance to do it. Because I saw them against what everybody considers the best quarterback in the game, and they still contained him. They still didn't let him in the end zone, and it was a broken play that got Adams the touchdown because Richard Sherman was here, and he's standing 6 feet away. And he's playing the outside guy. When he broke across the field, was it Cobb or was it or was it 17 Adams? The touchdown pass. They made it 16-0. Should be. No. Touchdown.
Green Bay, which
Touchdown.
field?
Green Bay.
Green Bay's touchdown.
Touchdown. Wasn't it Adams? I'm pretty sure it was Adams. Yeah.
You are the Packers. Only one touchdown. You are the Packers fan.
Where,
Okay?
It's got to be in here somewhere.
One question all night.
That's right. One question all night, Jamie.
That's
You
right.
let us down.
That's right. That's right.
You know?
We're sitting there. We're sitting here doing all this
right.
work, and you're saying,
Making sure everybody sounds good,
Hey,
though.
Jim,
Okay?
hey, Jim, can I go somewhere that's a hell of a lot more serious to me than all of this? Because
What's that?
To me, the story of your daughter is probably so much more important in my life because I have godchildren and I have a little 9-year-old girl because she's my heart. And if anything were to happen to that child, I know how I would be. Tell me what you and your wife went through during this whole period from the time Brielle was a baby up to now, and to see her every day when you look at her, that it's a gift, that life is a gift that she has.
Well, life is certainly a gift. I mean, you hit that nail on the head on that one. But my daughter was originally diagnosed with ALL, acute lymphoblastic leukemia at age 2.5. And she was diagnosed on a Super Bowl Sunday, ironic as that is. The Giants against, I forget who they were playing, but 92 or so. She was, as I said, 2.5. Got the call that, her back was hurting a little bit, and ended up driving up to Children's Hospital that night, and they started doing some tests. After about getting there about 2:30 in the morning, around 6:30 a.m., they don't beat around the bush. The doctors come in after the test and told us that your child has leukemia, and they admit her right away. And the protocol at that point was started chemotherapy right away. So she underwent chemo,
2.5.
went into remission. Within a month, she was in remission, but then it was like a 2-year protocol. She was going back and forth to the Jimmy Fund, regular basis. Great place,
Yes.
absolutely great place,
worked for
and she was cancer-free for 5 years. She almost hit that magical 5-year mark that they consider them cured, and you can move on. And then she ended up relapsing. And then when you relapse with leukemia, the treatment is a whole different scenario.
Protocol. Yep.
So this time she had to undergo more intensive chemotherapy, but also total body radiation, including cranial.
She's 7.
She was 7 at that point then, 7.5, right at that 5-year. So of course, I don't know which was worse, the first time you were diagnosed. I actually think it was the second time when she relapsed, because we were that
you
close.
really get scared then, don't you?
Oh, absolutely, at that point.
As a parent, what is that first at 2, you figure this is my baby. I could lose this baby, and your wife is going through. You just had the child, and the rock that's inside of you. And then, tell me about the first time when you find out, and okay, well we're gonna do this. But the second time had to be worse.
Well, you put your faith in the doctors and the nurses up there, and as they told us, at that age, believe it or not, between 2
Got a better
and
chance.
7 is the best time to treat leukemia,
That's
believe it or not.
Yeah.
And at that point in life, it was about a 70% cure rate. So you had a little more.
Was Brielle talking then?
Oh yeah.
How'd you explain it to her?
Well, she, she was complaining about her back aching. I mean, a kid at 2.5, you can get some knowledge out of them, and they can complain, and when they're sick, and we used to tell her, you're gonna have to have a pokey, a shot, but she had a CVL line put through.
A stent.
Yeah, that went through the neck and came out through the chest at that point, and so I can remember my wife and I when we were living in Foxborough at the time. We became mini doctors ourselves because you had to clean that CVL line 3-4 times a week. And you got out the sterile soap, and you were scrubbed up in the orange soap and changing the Band-Aids and stuff. So when they would go back to the hospital,
I've gone through all this.
The Dana-Farber, they would inject everything through that and draw the blood right out of your CVL line. But we got through the first time and had another daughter. She was a baby. We ended up moving, and then the relapse happened when we were living in Norton. But then the second time, she ended up having to not only undergo chemo, total body radiation, but also a bone marrow transplant.
Where'd you get the marrow?
Well, they no longer do it this way, but it was an autologous transplant, which meant they harvested her own bone marrow after she underwent chemo again, so she was technically in remission, and then they cleanse all those cells once they harvest the marrow. So the body will never be able to reject your own marrow going back in.
That makes sense, sure.
But you never dreamed you'd have to learn all this.
Oh, no. So, but she was in total isolation. We had the 6th or 7th floor Children's Hospital for almost a total month in an oxygen-controlled room. Wow. Stayed at the Ronald McDonald House up there for a few weeks right after her surgery. The saddest time I think was that time, but she actually had to undergo cranial radiation. I mean that'll get you there. You see your kid in there.
Now she's 7. She can talk to you. She can tell you what's going on. Did she ever tell you when she was afraid or anything? Because kids, see, I've worked with a lot of cancer children,
but
they have more courage.
I can remember having to literally, because you'd have to fold the kid up into like almost a fetus position to get the bone marrow out of the extraction from the mat or back. And those needles, they're like a basketball needle that you pump up deep, or deflate footballs with. Not to get off that subject real fast.
Stop that, Mike. Go ahead.
It's all coming back to this.
But yeah, it's. It's an ordeal you don't wish on anybody. No. But we got dealt that, and we got through it. I was out of football 6 months, and had taken a job in the real world, what I call the real world, because you're not playing football anymore. I was working for a food broker out here, Mercant Enterprises. Company was called Food Enterprises. I had a lot of Purity Supreme supermarkets. In fact, driving down the Route 9 stretch to get here tonight, there used to be
flashbacks.
A Purity Supreme in Natick on Route 9. But 6 months into working into the real world, my daughter, Brielle, at 2.5, was diagnosed with leukemia, and I needed my job for insurance. That gallant comeback at age 28 was not going to happen for Jim Bowman, even though I knew I was young enough and healthy enough and still wanted to continue a career. But you got to put.
If you have no children, would you have gone back, you think?
I would have tried. Oh, absolutely. But you can't give up your insurance back in those days.
Got that right. You
Because
can't give it up now, especially not now.
You had a pre-existing condition, and I was stuck working for a food broker for over 8 years because of pre-existing conditions. Thankfully, in 1996, the Clinton administration, of all administrations, passed the Kennedy-Castlebaum Act. That now prohibited insurance companies from discriminating against any and all pre-existing conditions. And I was finally able to get out of working in the food industry into the beverage industry, where I am now with the Martinetti companies.
Yeah, and you've been with them for 17 years.
17 plus years.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
With insurance?
With insurance. Oh, absolutely, no.
And 3 days a week.
Different. Well, I work when I need to. Grab my orders. No longer required to take checks, thank God.
I think that's great.
As I mentioned, now
a couple of great part-time jobs.
That's right. No, you said that.
Now that I mentioned, with Brielle there, and she has 2 younger sisters.
Correct.
Do you ever worry about them in the same vein?
Well, my middle daughter, Shaylee, she is actually now a registered nurse working at Children's Hospital. Just started 3 months ago.
Okay.
Moved it into her own apartment this past Saturday in Quincy.
That's right. That's cool, huh?
Awesome.
How many left?
And my
Cameron,
oldest daughter,
right, is
my youngest daughter, Cameron, is sophomore in high school. But when she was born, and we ended up having her blood, her stem cells saved.
Yep, saved. Yep.
Just in case there's a, should there ever be
Smart idea.
one of those relapses or anything, because stem cells, the technology even existed back 10, 15, 20 years ago.
They weren't going to touch it then.
They didn't know exactly
didn't know.
what to do. They knew that it was important,
But
they
at
didn't
this
know what
point
to
in
do
life,
with it.
they now know what they
Oh
can
my
do with stem
goodness,
cells.
incredible.
And we've got those saved in a bank.
That's
One
something.
banking
one
those.
final question on that. How much has this changed the life of you and your wife? How are you two different?
Well, you're dealt with certain ordeals in life. You just kind of deal with them. They told us, the social workers that you're first assigned with when she was first diagnosed, that it will either bring you closer together as a couple,
That's right.
or it will end
you
your
up.
marriage.
Right.
There's no in between.
Right. Wow.
Because you're forced to kind of have to deal with. And we used to do the shifts. My wife would stay a few nights in the hospital. I'd drive up, I'd stay a night or two, and then we literally would have the car waiting down in front of Children's Hospital.
And run down
Cell
and shift.
phones were in existence. All right, I'm here, and you'd wait for her to come down, and then you'd go up and you'd do your shift.
Amazing.
Spend the night.
Isn't it amazing the advances that they've had, though, with cancer, especially in young people?
Well, they no longer do the
here-
autologous and
Right.
transplants. I mean,
It's incredible.
my daughter's still monitored. She still goes up there once a year and just check, EKG checks and stuff. And it's amazing what the Jimmy Fund does. I
Yep.
mean,
You mentioned the doctors and the nurses, but I still believe in my heart and my mind because I'm a person of faith. Did you pray at all? Because
Absolutely.
I pray every day. So, and I'm gonna be praying for
Yeah,
Brielle when I leave here today. But keep her safe and whatever.
We, I wouldn't say the most religious people in the world, but when you dealt with something like that, you can get real close to faith.
Right.
And there was a small church in Foxborough that helped us out tremendously during that ordeal, the Union Church.
If I remember correctly, didn't Dante Scarnecchia help you out quite a
Well,
bit?
it was
too?
the Kraft Foundation, actually,
Yeah.
that second time they had a fundraiser for us. I mean, sure, it's paid for a lot of the treatment, but a lot of those little expenses
Extra
that,
stuff, yeah. The
that
extras that
people
you
have no idea
Right.
that insurance doesn't pay for a lot of different things,
Right.
but plus
They look for reasons not to pay.
Yeah, oh,
actually.
absolutely. You're fighting them tooth and nail, and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars of. If you think about if you're in total isolation in a room at Children's Hospital, how much that costs for almost 30 days?
Yes.
Well,
oh yeah.
I've been
Absolutely.
involved. I've been involved with it for many years. I've lost several children, and I've seen a few make it through. And I'll tell you, we still talk to this day. I have my own children; they're all godchildren, as far as I'm concerned. And it's, to me, the work that's done there at the Jimmy Fund is just incredible. I mean, I thank God every day that organization was founded, funded by the Red Sox. Ted Williams was a major part of it, and where they've come from, and the Crafts are part of it too now, but where they've come from and what they've done has been amazing. Mike, I'd like to ask you something, though, on how'd you two meet? How'd you two get together?
Internet dating site. I was a little concerned, a little leery, but I'm a big sports fan. And there he is.
Is that sports fans mingle or something? Or
My
what?
profile and his profile met. We were a match. And I got the call from him one day, and
It was Christian Mingle. Christian Mingle.
been together ever since.
Actually, I grew up in Attleboro, and always hustling, always working. I had a TV show on Nesson for a couple seasons. I'm a big fan of food, and I created a show. It was a grilling tailgating show, and something came up in the town community of Attleboro, where I grew up in. It was they called it the Wing Fling. It was for the Fraternal Order of Police to raise money for the wounded police officers and
Yep.
their families.
Yep.
Officer gets wounded on the job, so it was called the Wing Fling, and they would held it at the Attleboro Elks, which my dad used to be a member at. So I just figured, growing up in Attleboro, knowing a lot of people in the community, I went over to shoot an episode of The Grilling Show. So we basically, the Fraternal Order of Police had reached out to some of the ex-players. You know, Jim was there. They
We were
had
judges.
Steve,
Judging
you know,
chicken wings.
Fred
Nothing
Smirla,
bad-
Steve
not a bad gig,
Diassi.
right?
They had all
Oh,
those
yeah, about
guys.
that.
You had some cohorts that knew something about food too.
They had all the heavies in there, Diassi and
right.
Smirlis and those guys. So basically, we just started chatting, and it's a yearly event that really has blossomed to a really an exciting. They've outgrown.
When is
the
it?
vicinity.
When is it?
It's in the spring,
Springtime.
typically.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a
March,
wing
April.
fling, and basically local restaurants and eateries come and set their stuff up. Their vendors, they set up
I
their
love
stuff,
those
and
things.
people vote.
Hot wings,
I
So-
love
wings,
those things.
gourmet
Taste of
wings.
Alabama,
No, I'm
taste
serious.
of
'cause
It's-
we should-
it's a great thing to be
because
involved
we should
in.
be a part of that.
Oh, no.
We should go there.
Hey, Lord knows
That'll
we
be fun.
don't
Don't
go
try the
anywhere who
ghost
wants
wings.
us.
I won't try those.
The
ones.
ghost
Ghost wings are
wings?
bad. So and then we just saw them.
I
You know,
have
we're in
to
the
buy.
back
This
room.
past year, yeah, they got a little back room area for us, and hey, you remember me from last year up here. You know, funny man, you know, comedian. You know, I've seen his act a couple of times out there.
Now we
At
started
local
playing
fundraisers.
golf on Thursdays. You want to talk about funny man?
Now that's common. You
So I
guys
live,
playing golf?
I live very close to the Norton Country Club, so that's where I tend to golf on Thursdays. And invited Mike to start joining us with this other old
this is
Vietnam
a
War
Thursday
veteran.
morning thing.
So Thursday mornings,
no.
the ankle allows me to walk
stay-
9.
That's
you
nice.
Remind us to
That's
stay
all right.
far away from the Norton Country Club any Thursday.
Helmets,
We're going anywhere.
everyone.
And
Helmets,
being
everyone.
the near scratch golfer that I am,
Yeah. How the heck did I hit that one over there? That's what it is.
Scratching those balls
Scratching my head,
again.
Let me tell you a little something about
you
golfing.
made me
with
sound
Jim
so good
Bowman.
earlier.
You know,
that, you know, this
it's a little
athlete,
bit
this
like
all great
Caddyshack,
athlete, and everything.
man.
Golf sucks. I can't
How many
golf.
different
I can't
impersonations
golf.
do you do?
How many impressions?
How many impressions?
Give
Yeah.
me some. Give me.
I'll give you my all New England
I love the
impression.
Robert.
Okay.
The Robert
I'll give.
Kraft is- Wait, were you on EI with that? With that?
the
Yes.
Johnny Most guy.
And you were. the
I'll give
Johnny
you. I'll
Most.
give you my quick all New England
Okay.
impersonations.
All right.
Okay, DJ on the Nelson back over to Birdie Fiddle. That's a ground ball off to Keith Falk, and he got hands on McCabe, and the Red Sox have won.
Well, you know, Joe, we feel pretty good right now. We like a lot of what we're going to do this year. I was talking to Beatty and Yoki and Daffy and Sneezy. I don't know about that. Got a lot of work to do.
We're on to Seattle. Where is that? We're on to Seattle.
Quick impersonation, Bill Belichick, after having a really bad meal. I don't know about that. Francona, after a really bad meal. You know, it was a little spicy. But I got together with Sheffy and Hosty and Wadey, and what we're going to do is we're going to pull back a little bit on the cayenne pepper. We can do a lot better.
Now,
I got to go, Joe.
now, Mike, there's one I have for you, Mike.
Okay.
Because we recently lost him over the weekend, I'm told.
Talk about it.
Bob Wilson.
I'll go
You
for it.
know, he was before my time.
Yep.
You got to go back and find some tape.
I
of
know,
him, okay?
He's the legend. He is the voice of
my
the
God.
Bruins.
He was what Johnny
Oh,
Most was to
my
the
God.
Celtics.
I know this.
The first
the thing about
time
being an
Mike-
impressionist
Oh,
is you have to, the character has to have mannerisms.
Right.
And you have to exploit
You
him
would
and,
love-
and
you
stretch him
would
out.
love to do him.
sprint and
If
spin
you
him.
listen to any of those old, you would love to do him. I'm
Sure.
telling you, I started out my career with Johnny Most, Gil Santos, and Bob Wilson. I'm one of the only people in this world as a producer that got to produce 3. Well, 2 are in the Hall of Fame. Johnny Most there's a big campaign to get him there because he should definitely be there. But I got to listen to these guys every single night.
And the one thing they all had was a hook. You
Oh,
can have a hook.
goodness.
Johnny Most and Fiddle and Diddle.
Yep.
I had won the competition in 1988.
Yeah,
Funny
right.
story.
Yeah.
Right? No, this is the old Sports Center.
Old
Remember?
Sports Center,
The
yeah.
old
Old
with the
right.
flag and the
Flag
red,
and
white, and blue.
everything,
yeah.
I'd won the competition, and my gift was, my trip was, I got to go to the Celtics in LA at the Forum with Ordway and Johnny Most, and I hung out. And I don't know if we're on cable, we're on the internet. I don't know.
You're
where
live
hell
on the
we are.
internet, which
That's
means it's
okay.
forever there.
That's good.
Forever
so
there.
we're at the Marriott after the game, and there's ladies of LA hanging around with all of us. So
Shocked to hear this.
we're dancing, and Johnny's got the bad because he had a stroke. God bless him. He had the bad arm, and he lands on top of me, and he's got the brown from the cigarettes all over his mouth.
God.
He got pushed over by a hooker, and he landed on top, and he looked at me right at me because
Don't worry about it, kid. I got plenty of horses in the stable.
That sounds like Johnny.
That's my
sounds
Johnny.
like him. But I'll tell you though, people.
But you got to have a hook. That's the
but,
thing.
But you know the amazing part about here's an amazing human being that I got to know over the years, and very few people know unless you read his book High Above Courtside.
I did.
Just go get a copy of it.
And Jamie mailed me a copy of it.
Yep, Jamie. I've known Jamie since the day he was born. But you know the best part about this story? People keep forgetting that. Forget the fact that Johnny Most was a World War II hero, not in hockey. But I'm talking about battle commissions. This guy has medals. But Johnny Most was an accomplished poet. Sure. He wrote a poem about combat that is still one of the greatest pieces of work that and you got to buy the book to read it. It was that amazing, Mike. I'm telling you, every time I read it, that being somebody, and I know a lot about combat, it just makes me cry. I said to myself, this guy was there because he flew bombing missions.
Can I show you something?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, there you
But
go.
you talk about
Secret stash.
Yeah, no,
you
this
talk
is
about
good
men.
stuff.
I mean, these were great.
So
announcements.
Most was a poet.
Yeah.
Most was a
I was a
poet.
poet. Yeah, and very few people know that, Jim. Very
I didn't
few
know
people
that.
I didn't know that. I
Accomplished
And I've been
poet.
out here
Jim,
since
and
1985. I started
Jim,
my
right.
30th year
Get
living here in New
his
England.
book. It's called High Above Courtside, and some of
Borrowed
the
it from
poems
him.
are in there.
You can borrow it
is
from Mike.
amazing.
He's got the book.
It is it's a beautiful. It's a good
Get
piece
it
of
on
work.
that
Joe.
thing, can't you?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
It's a
You
good
can get
piece of
anything you
work,
want
Joe.
on that thing.
I'm sure you can.
Just gotta
You
pay
know
for
that.
it. Just gotta pay for it. Some you get for free, actually. Anyway, so Richard Sherman's injury. Are we worried about this? Is this going to make a fact? I mean, today's an MRI. They're just going to shoot it up and be fine.
I'm just
don't think
amazed
so.
that the Packers didn't go after him.
You heard,
I'm
bro?
seeing him holding
Exactly.
his
You
arm,
heard, bro?
holding
You
his
heard, bro?
arm, holding his arm. I'm sorry, I'm going after him. I'm
would
at
think
least,
so.
I'm at least throw over there once or two times to see what he can do.
You saw him.
Yeah, he's playing.
grabbing
No, he's
it.
playing like this,
He's holding it.
holding one. And
Man.
I said, man, we're going over. And I was amazed at Packers. I said, wait a minute. There's respect, but there's too much respect. I want to because we know he could be faking. We know
Well-
he could be faking, but I'm gonna test it. I want to find out. I'm going over there a couple times. Say, look, let's say if we throw something short, he might not be able to tackle. If he's only got one arm, he
Right.
can't tackle.
Hey, Mike, if you
break
have
a
a problem with that
tackle, game's
smartphone,
over.
Jimmy's an expert on electronics.
This
He
is
can
my
really
man
help you
cave.
out
I
with
know
it.
the TV can't see
Big
this.
face with him.
That's my man cave.
Yeah.
Look at that book right there. What's that book there on the left?
Oh,
There it
Johnny
is.
Most, baby.
That's it.
That's Johnny's
wait,
book.
High above courtside.
I see a few other things. Who's the autograph football?
That's Adam Vinatieri autograph football.
High above
Outstanding.
courtside.
And
He
that
taught
is-
my kid how to kick a field goal at age 11.
Yeah.
And he hit a 25-yard field goal in the bubble.
Did you
I
not
still
feel
have that.
yesterday he was going to miss that?
I know.
Yeah, I did.
100%.
There was
I
a
even
really
said it.
weird feeling.
I said
I
he's
did.
not going to
I
make
did.
this field
I
goal.
said not 51 yards.
And not
I said,
only did he
By the
not
way,
make
this
it,
stadium,
and
he missed
Gostkowski-
it badly.
That wind
Gostkowski
just took
he
it
would
down.
have made it. Gostkowski would have made it.
I think I
He's a
jinxed
better
Adam
kicker
because
than
I did go up to him and
Adam's a Hall of Fame quarterback.
shook his hand
Yeah,
and
kicker,
welcomed
though.
him back to New England when I was out there
Oh,
on
you
the
did?
field.
He's a great guy.
Nice.
Oh, absolutely.
God,
I'll
I've
tell you
known him
something.
since
And
his
he's
rookie
the
talking about
year.
class
he's
act.
officially
Adam Vinatieri?
It's my class act.
Oh,
That's
I
class
met Adam
act.
briefly.
42
A
years
very nice
old.
guy.
Yep.
All three
Skated
all
two of the
three
most
Super
beautiful
Bowls were
women I've
decided
ever
by
seen in my
single
life.
I
points.
said, welcome back,
That
old man,
first
and
one.
I can officially call you an old man.
He's got gray hairs.
No, he's
Man,
there. I
for the first
saw his little interview
as soon as
that
he walked on the field, I said,
they did a piece on
48
him on
yards.
Channel 4 or so.
I said,
So
this is
Patriots.
game. I said, this guy is so clutch because remember, he had already kicked the 45-yarder in the snow. I said, this is a piece of cake.
Best
the
kick of all
Patriots are. I'm sitting there going, the Patriots are actually going to win unless something just because they've had a history of doing crazy stuff. I said, if they don't
Tuck rope.
block this field goal, if it clears the line of scrimmage, as soon as he kicked it, I was going. It was like dun, 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 the Hallelujah chorus was playing. The ball was floating through the air, and Vinatieri. If you look at the video, Vinatieri knew, but he turned to the side and just looked away for a second, and then he went, and then they just bobbed him, and that was the highest moment as far as I was concerned for this franchise, because I've known the franchise since the Sullivans owned it, and you talk about they may not have had a lot of money, but ladies and gentlemen, they're the guys that really deserve the credit, because without them, there would have been no Patriots. And the old man and his son, they were some classy. His son, Billy's gone, but his son, classy human being.
Which son?
Classy human being.
Which son? Pat or Chuck?
Pat.
Okay, good.
Pat.
I like Pat.
Game Creek
like
Video.
Chuck?
I like Pat.
Not so. Let's just say.
That's all right.
It's all right. I'm the back sheep of my family.
You know, Jimmy, I was at that game where
speak.
Adam kicked that game-winning field goal. I was right on the sideline looking right down the line of scrimmage in the snow.
Outstanding.
Oh, one of my greatest memories.
That was the
not
last
even
game
counting it as a
at
player.
the old stadium. That was the last game
And
at
then,
the old
like you
stadium.
said, the best part was you're there, right?
Oh, right there
And
watching it.
the snow is coming, and you can
was
barely
magnificent.
see it. And
Right. The rock well painted.
And the ball falls clean. And when it felt clean, I said to myself, are you kidding? 45 in the wind and the snow. And he got it there. I said, but remember, from then
And
on.
he kicked another one.
But from
The
then
winning
on,
one was tough too, but
the winning one wasn't as tough as that
wasn't
one.
long.
Remember, this one, you don't make this one, game's over.
he hit it like a
makes this
knuckleball.
one.
He hit it. He
Right.
hit
The
it.
winning one was a knuckleball.
Well, no.
Oh, no,
Just
this
the
one was a
opposite.
knuckleball. Yeah.
The tying one was the knuckleball.
Yeah, but he
Right.
got
You
it
know?
there though. And the thing, I'm thinking of all the games that he won. And I remember when he left here, I said to myself, when he went to the Colts, I said, this could come back to bite them
And
somewhere.
it hasn't at all.
No.
Yes, it
Not
did.
yet.
Yes, it did. When they lost,
In
they
that-
lost to the Colts,
In 07, in 06.
when they lost to the Colts 06, what happened?
He hit
Remember,
the-
they won by 4 points.
Yeah.
He had to make the extra point to get them the 4-point margin to force Brady them to go down the field. Because if it's a field goal, Brady's gonna get him a field goal. But in that game, he had kicked two. But remember, if memory serves me correctly, a couple of years later, no, that was that year. He kicked
has
5
so
against
far.
Baltimore.
Yes, that's
He
right.
kicked 5 against Baltimore.
Against the Raiders?
Against the Ravens.
I was living in
And I'm
Atlanta.
I'm saying, I'm
In
talking about
03?
in horrid weather.
02, I'm
He
living in
kicked
Atlanta.
5.
Yeah.
I'm in between shows, first and second show, at the Punchline Comedy Club. And I'm like this, I'm watching the game, they were down 13-10. And I had to go and do my set. And I said to the opening act, I said, let me know how this goes. So I go do my set, and he's in the back. 15, 20 minutes later, and he goes like that. I stopped the show.
Stop the show,
I
that's
said,
it.
they tied it. He said, they won.
They won. They didn't tie, Mike. They said, Mike, they didn't tie, they won.
Just keep in mind, Adam Vinatieri
Clutch.
has 4 rings.
3 here, 1 there.
Oh.
That's right. And,
And-
nobody
and-
on the Patriots
And
has.
the one
4.
that got to me was when the Colts beat them. It killed me because I never wanted to see him leave
That was
here.
just on
I
again
wanted to
last week.
see
I
him
watched that game.
retire a Patriot because the greatest clutch kicker. I mean, yes, they did well with kickers after him. But the bottom line was
One, Gostowski.
Steven
He's got a better kicking
he's
percentage
better
than
I'm
Adam.
talking about punters, kickers, and so forth. But I'm saying, yes, and Gostowski is a better percentage kicker. But if the money's on the line,
Stronger.
if the money's on the line,
I don't
no.
know.
No, until he proves it. I'm saying you give me Adam Vinatieri, a man that won 3 Super Bowls.
Won 2
no.
games out of that last
no.
game. The thing about Adam is he had an opportunity to win more games because the Patriots weren't beating teams; they were competing equally with them. So he was put in positions to win games with Gostowski.
still gotta do
it
it,
hasn't
Jimmy.
happened as often.
You
And
No,
he's
no,
played
he's
in
not.
30 playoff games now.
Adam.
Vinatieri. Yeah.
Well,
All-time
we
NFL
all
record.
expect him to
Now,
join
how
Jan
good do you
Stenerud in
have
the Hall
to
of
be
Fame.
during the season to get to 30 playoff games?
Well, you have to
The
play
guy's
for
a great
quarterbacks
kicker.
like
Yeah.
Brady,
Yep.
Peyton Manning,
Yep.
and now Andrew Luck.
Yep.
Joe, you wanna come up?
And he'll probably be back next year.
Is he going to say no?
He'll probably be back next year.
Come on
Vinatieri?
up.
Yeah, he'll probably
Oh,
be back
I think
next
so.
year.
Take my seat.
He's 42.
Because he can keep
You want
going.
to give up your seat?
Absolutely.
Oh, he's such a good guy. I
Oh,
want to
my.
introduce you to Joe Braverman. He's been one of my young sportscasters in training.
Joe?
Actually, you weren't at Foxborough this year for the Game with the Greats, were you?
You had the game with
You
me?
were.
I
So you
was.
interviewed Jim
Excuse
before.
me, let me ask you one question.
Yeah.
What does this look?
What do you mean?
You're
This is
our sportscaster. No.
teenage.
This guy go, get off. Come on
Teenage.
back, Mike. Get off.
No.
Get off. Get off.
No.
You're out.
No, I
Get off.
No.
You're out.
I'm the executive
Get off.
producer
Oh,
here.
oh, you are?
Yes,
No,
I
You
am.
can get off too. Look at that. But now when you come here looking,
That's style.
better than that's not style. That's shirt out of pants and so forth.
I just
That
got a
is
shirt
not
like that.
Style.
Jimmy, can you give me my report because I
Thank
can't
you very
allow
much.
these on
He
the
was
players on the
flubbed.
field.
Yes, write him
I
up
gotta
on
have
the-
you take
see,
off the
this is
bracelet.
fine.
He's got a
This is
fine.
good.
I'm gonna fine him.
You're getting fined. Thank you very much. Thanks, Jim. Here you
That's-
go.
well,
Here you go,
So
big
you
guy.
did.
We all
you
got
did
caught.
interview Jim.
I
and-
did.
You did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What
I
was your
remember that.
most memorable moment after when you interviewed Jim when you were at Foxborough Stadium for Game with the Greats?
Oh my gosh, there were so many memories.
So many. See?
A lot of old farts hanging around that day, wasn't there? Huh? See, I was one of the younger of the old farts. I saw after me you had Larry Eisenhower.
That's true.
A legend.
That's Fossil.
That's a true legend.
You're talking about fossil.
That's a
That's
true old
dinosaur.
fossil.
And he is a true old fan. He's proud of that, though, I want to
He
tell
says
you.
old guy.
He is
no,
so proud of
that
that.
is fossil. That is dinosaur going towards fossil. I mean, you're almost in fossil state when you're as old as those guys were. Now young man.
Young buck. He's a young buck. He's a young
now
buck.
young man. But see, the best part about it is
Fashion
that
statement.
he takes this so well.
Yes, he does.
And he doesn't have anything to worry about.
Well, I
Because-
take it
because-
so much from my family. I kind of get used to it.
Because Jim, you would love it. We just got him out of wearing a hat on the set. Just got him out of that.
That's true, and it looks good without
For the
that.
longest time. For the longest time.
Not
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah.
Not doing it.
Yeah.
Not doing it.
He didn't want to ruin his hair.
For the longest, see that now the girls are noticing him. He wanted to let them know he had hair. See, so when he calls his little friends and says, "Listen, I'm going to be on the air tonight. Make sure you're tuned in." So all you little women out there, in front of your TVs, basking away and salivating over this little guy.
I'm going to be
He
over
does
16.
Have hair, and you must be over 16. Thank you very much. And you must have a license because we may take his away, and if he acts up just a little bit. We even gave him a car. Yeah, you're putting all your business out on YouTube. He even has a car.
I do.
He even has a car. Yeah.
How old are you?
Oh, that's true.
17.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's got to look at the support he gets from his
yeah,
family.
Just-
Isn't that nice?
He just got his license, and every week, you know what I do, Jim? I take mine out and try to give it to him. Here, take this. I don't need this anymore. If they let you out there drive, if they let
Hey,
you drive,
speaking
out
of
there, what do I need to
licenses,
do?
do you guys know what Vince Wilfork did last night?
I heard that.
Yeah,
I saw
the,
that.
Did you hear about this story?
Yeah, I did.
Help rescue
Somebody
a woman,
had
Rolled a Jeep.
rolled a Jeep,
Young lady rolled a Jeep.
and he pulled that woman out of there.
Yeah.
It wasn't Cam Newton.
And was
No.
not Cam Newton.
No,
it was a
but,
woman.
unfortunately, this woman was under the influence.
She was under the
Cam
influence.
wasn't under the influence when he
Right.
got hit.
Right. That's right.
And you know that's serious. It's such a serious thing with these young people that, you know, you really don't understand when you drink and you get behind the wheel of an automobile or any type of moving vehicle, the danger that you put others in. It's not just what you're doing to yourself. I mean, every day we read somewhere, Jimmy, somebody got killed, somebody does this. And then when you read that person goes to court, Jim, and you find that there were multiple
That's the
DUIs
thing that
on
crazy-
their charge.
drives me crazy.
I cannot have that much sympathy, Jim, because if that was Brielle, or if that was Cameron,
Or
if
anybody's
that was
family member.
or anybody's
Right.
family member, and they hit my child, and I said, and she was drunk, she rolled a Jeep and she was drunk, and Wilfork bailed her out, maybe the light goes on. Maybe this will be
And
something
she
for
had
her
2
to
or
do.
3 other DUIs.
Oh, gosh.
That's not
I mean,
good.
that's not good, Jimmy.
That's
I mean,
not good.
that's-
No. But
And you
but
know.
Vince did the right thing, and
Yeah,
I heard him
okay.
talking about it. He downplayed it, which was great because he said his wife saw it first.
Bianca?
Bianca saw it first. Vince got out of the car. The kid called 911.
She's
Dragged
lucky.
her out with one
She's
hand.
lucky. She's fortunate. She's blessed.
And I
She's
think
not
the
lucky.
policeman
She's
held the
blessed.
door or something. I don't know. You know
She's
what?
blessed. So, young man, that is a
Do the
lesson
right
to you.
thing.
Because
Yes.
if we ever find out,
Yeah.
if
Uh-oh.
I ever find out,
Uh-oh.
I'm coming after you.
That's right.
Here's my
And you-
early
I gotta
indications
tell you
on this,
something.
man. You don't want to get hit.
Don't mess with him. But I gotta tell you
Oh,
something.
I already know.
You
I already
you
know.
You know you are my adopted son and his
Yes.
adopted son. We're coming after you. And I don't care if you're in California. He was on the air and he did what? I'm on the next plane.
I think
Don't
his
worry.
generation, I think the Mothers Against Drunk Driving
Yeah.
education that has gone on in this generation, because I have a 24-year-old son, and he will not get behind the wheel. In fact, he has gotten out of his sick bed to pick up his friend in Franklin to drive him home at times. And that is what your generation has going for it, as opposed to the idiots in my generation. I'll be perfectly honest with you. You know, I'm not going to be proud of it.
Jimmy, as a parent, and 2 of the 3 girls drive, right?
My youngest is in, it's funny you mentioned this. She just booked 3 hours ago her driving lessons
There you go.
from the driving school. I've
So,
had her.
I was going to
with
say,
me
has she
drive.
had dad out there?
Half a dozen times.
That's good.
Makes me
Crazy.
very nervous.
It does. Yes, it does.
Because I can see it now.
But you
got
live-
two older ones.
I love you,
she's-
but you're
she's-
scaring me half to death.
Are you still down in Norton?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of open space down in Norton,
well,
isn't there?
parking lots are one thing, but long curvy roads we call Oak Street. When you're sitting in the passenger seat and you got big trees and you think she's going to hit those big trees, no, you got to get over. You got to favor that low, a little more in the center.
The line is a scary thing for kids.
So now I've had her.
Look at
half
the
a
look on his
dozen.
face. He's going, I've been there going, oh, my God.
No, I'll get her at least a dozen or so times before
That's
she
good.
actually lets or goes out with the driving instructors and
Right.
let them teach her a little bit more. But
One
she
of the
just
funniest,
turned 16.
one
so.
of, one of the funniest episodes on the show that Tony Danza did. He gave his daughter a car, and it had tires, big tires, all it's like a cab,
That's
but
right.
he had big tires around the whole car. That's
Protecting
what I'm-
the car.
Yes,
Right.
no, protecting her.
Oh, I get
I'm
that,
Putting,
yeah.
I'm putting tires around all the young people's, and I've had to teach driving. It's a scary process, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you
Well,
know-
I mean, I've got 2 that I wouldn't say have mastered driving, but
Yeah.
we've done it.
Good.
But you ask my wife to, take her for a practice run?
Never happened. Same thing. Not happening.
That's not happening. That's
I'm
not my
familiar with that.
responsibility for
I
3
am
straight
familiar
times.
with
Hey, Jim.
Oh.
Hey, honey, do you think you
No,
like
see.
Are you
No.
crazy?
No.
No, you're the father. You're taking her.
And have you ever had the daughter driving, you're in the passenger seat,
And the wife's
and the wife's in the back seat?
No.
Okay, that's good.
happen.
You are a saint. You are a smart
Your
man.
wife is my
That
sister.
won't
I am
happen.
not going in that back seat
That will not
with
happen.
my child driving. I love her to death, but I'm not getting in the back seat. No.
So it's working all right for you, this driving thing? We're
Yeah.
all good? All right.
Yeah, 1 month, no accident.
Excellent. Keep that going.
Okay,
I like
we
to tell you
keep the
this.
streak going. That's 1 month.
Remember I told you
30
about
days.
my son? I got to tell you a quick story about my son Gabe, 24-year-old kid. He's a little OCD with cars. Okay? So this morning I get this text, black ice, blank. I'm going to sue the condo association, blank. They owe me a new bumper, blank. Okay. Now, fill in the blanks, all right? 5 o'clock happens. He comes home from work. He's carrying a bumper. Okay? I now have one bumper. I have 2 bumpers in my living room right now. And I go, Gabe, how am I going to, can't you put one of them in the back? It's not going to rain. He goes, no, you're going to have to deal with this. And I go,
I love
I have
this.
to deal with this.
Hey.
First of all, he's bigger than me, so he has a point, okay?
No, the best part is he's alive.
Yeah, no kidding. And that's what I look
And
at.
I don't
Hey,
care.
can you do something with the bumpers? Make an end table out of it? Or put some stickers
Wait a minute,
here
wait a
and
minute.
there?
I'm
Put it up on
beginning
the
to think,
wall.
I'm
You
beginning
can
to
do
think your
something.
daughters each gave you a bumper. You got
No,
an end
no.
table in your
I've been
house.
thinking of that. I never think of that as a
No,
decoration.
Make something
no,
out
to
of
me-
it.
No, because young ladies are normally much smarter when it comes to driving than young men. That's all right.
Not
That's
just
just life.
driving,
That's
just for
the
the
way-
record, Jimmy.
Thanks.
And
That's
I
life.
think you know that. too.
That's life.
Okay, yeah.
In life, they're smarter. But I'm saying normally they're much more responsible when it comes to driving than guys are. For some
All I know is when I see a bumper that's broken like that, and it's my son, I don't see the bumper. I see green. And I see money
Right,
flying
right.
out the window
Well,
again.
you're gonna
just
get
like
somebody
every
to take-
parent out there has to deal with it, you know.
But
we
it's
love
that
our
blank
kids.
black ice, though.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah, sure.
You know, and it's just, how come they couldn't put the salt down before I get out there? I go, because you go to work at 7 o'clock in the morning. And
Yeah.
I said, by the way, by the
Salt
time
guys
I
like
got
to
back
rest.
to the condo at 10, they had plenty of salt all over the parking lot. I didn't slip at all. Have any fun? Oh,
Well,
he
they
doesn't
because,
like that.
No.
because Gabe had already warned him he's suing.
Yes, that's right.
He said, if they was my
Absolutely.
father, I'm going to sue you twice. So you have nothing to worry
But
about.
I will say that he's taking care of his 24-year-old girlfriend who had hip surgery on Friday.
Very good.
24-year-old had hip surgery.
Pip.
And he is making her food, and he's got the food in the refrigerator for her. And Dad went out and got the seat so she could take a shower. Got the other seat already.
The shower seat.
Right.
Yeah.
And doing what we have to do for our kids, because that's what it's about.
There
right?
you go.
And Joe, as far as you are an extension of mine, just make sure that the tuition bills go to that family. Okay, please? All right, just saying. I just want to say. All right, thank you. I'm done with that.
All right.
You know, we didn't get a chance to, we're going to wrap it up here. We didn't get a chance to talk about Hip Studio. My friends from Hip Studio, they have a yoga studio. We're going to make them up. We'll make good on a spot for them next week, if that's okay.
Just do the quick hip thing.
No,
He says HY. Whatever.
It's hypstudio.com.
There
you go.
HIP.
That's right. The Y stands for youthful, and they have 3 studios in Medfield, Needham, and Wellesley. And one of these days I'll get there. Let's just say. But I want to thank Mike Pettit for coming down here.
Michael,
wherever
thank
you
you so much.
Thank you so much. We enjoyed your. I want to see your show.
Thank you.
I want to see your show.
Come down and see the show.
I love this guy. This is the future right here. That's the
right.
future.
That's right.
That's
Peter-
Peter Griffin right there.
great
That's
name.
the future.
Joe Braden,
Flannel is
he's
the
got a great
future.
name.
He's my
Flannel's the future, Stewie. Tell him.
Jim Bowman, we go back a long ways.
Yeah.
It's been
Yeah.
great to see you again. I'm glad that we're back in
Appreciate
touch.
the
You're a
invite.
good man.
Thank you
so
really
much
good
for your
man.
time.
Here,
It's been a pleasure.
Jamie.
in the big city. Jamie, our Packer fan.
Jamie, the Packer
Sorry,
fan.
Jamie.
Sorry, yep, wave that flag. You're still an American. Don't ever forget that. That's right. I understand that. We will see you next week.
week.
This will be the big hype week
I would
for
think
the
so.
Super Bowl.
And we will give you a crime update on all this in this league between because with inactivity, these guys are out there loose and we got to be a little worried.
I think that it's going to be a very quiet 2 weeks.
I
think
hope
it's
so.
going to be a great Super Bowl.
Works for me.
I hope so.
And I
Can't wait.
hope that
Hope it's better than last year.
I hope it's better than last year's.
We got rooting interest this year.
And that's what we want. So, again, thank you so much for the Jimmy Sports Talk. Tell your neighbors, tell your friends, subscribe to us, help us out. We're going to start building out this network a little bit more of a following. And I'm gonna look at this camera here because Jamie's telling me to. The light's not on. The light's not on. And we have this great. Can we show them what
It's a great system.
We show them what our tally light is.
It's a great
Come on.
system.
There it is. There's our tally light. That means that this camera should be on. This camera's on now. But if I move it over here, I'll switch it over here. And then, okay, that'll do it.
over there?
That's another night on the Jimmys.
Where's the light?
Jimmy, I'll
Light is
let you wrap her up for the final time for this week.
As we said before, at the beginning of the show, Martin Luther King, a legendary figure in all of our lives. It is a day that is a celebration of his birthday. It's long and hard to get this to be a national holiday. Well, we've got it. And so much has changed in his life. And I know so many times I'm very serious in regards to the things that I think are important. This is an important day. Try to reflect on what the man meant when he used the words content of character. And I pray that we will all have that. And I pray that you will all remember what we do in life will echo in eternity. And that's what it is in sports.
All right, Jimmy, bye.